There's no place to escape to.
This is the last podcast.
On the left. That's when the cannibalism started.
What was that?
Home Harbor. Home Harbor. Oh, also a lot of pushback. Lots of pushback.
On what, Cillian Murphy?
FDR, my friend.
What's the pushback?
Manifest Destiny.
That doesn't make any sense.
Native Americans.
You're just saying
That
stuff.
makes zero sense.
Expansionism.
That makes zero sense.
He didn't do that.
You're thinking about Teddy Roosevelt.
That's Teddy Roosevelt.
That's Teddy Roosevelt.
But
Whoever is saying that Franklin Roosevelt has no understanding.
DMs.
Your DMs are wrong.
Yes.
Concentration camps for the Japanese.
We're going to be talking about that.
That wasn't him
And they
either.
were not concentration camps. They were internment camps.
Yeah, they were like a waiting area. It was like a waiting room for justice.
A
Yeah,
lot
and-
of controversy.
And we're going to be talking about the internment camps on this episode. But yeah, everything you were talking about before, that's all Teddy Roosevelt.
That's like the 1800s.
No, it's not. It's early 1900s.
It's might as well be.
Birds of a feather.
Are they related?
Distant they're like fourth cousins. Or no, they're third cousins.
I like Teddy. Teddy created the national park movement.
Yeah. It was what is the thing? Because like Eleanor Roosevelt was Teddy Roosevelt's niece. And Franklin Roosevelt and Eleanor Roosevelt were actually cousins.
Wow, cool.
But like
Old school.
they're like third cousins, second cousins, something like that.
Yeah.
There was
you could dip your wig.
there was the
Kissing cousins.
Yeah, because there were like two warring factions of Roosevelts. There were the Oyster Bay Roosevelts, that was Teddy Roosevelt's, and then there was the Hyde Park Roosevelts, that was Franklin Roosevelt's family.
The fancy Roosevelts.
They both
were
it's
fancy.
arguable as to actually the
Because
Oyster.
Teddy Roosevelt was a rich kid that threw himself into fighting because he wanted to experience life.
Yeah, because he was a sickly child, and he wanted get action. That was his catchphrase. Get action.
Get some action.
FDR's like, get these knees out of here.
FDR was a nerd. Like he was unliked, unpopular, which was like he didn't figure out how to be like a guy until he was in his like 30s or 40s.
There's no way he just trained everybody. Like, you know how like my dog trained us to like lift her up the stairs, right? Like, so
Yeah,
she
he did
goes,
that. I'm
she
sure he
now
did
knows
that.
she's figured out like, oh, I could just wait by the stairs. You'll just lift me up. You think maybe in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, he would.
FDR kind of told everybody, hey, what if I just sit
That's true.
all the time?
He would just fold himself into a bellwaiter.
This is my main conspiracy theory thrust of this entire series.
Yeah.
Is that he could walk. He was lying about it to get clout on TikTok.
Well, I don't know if it really
I
worked
think it was a
out.
big deal. No, it didn't work out for him. No. In the end, he did die, but we all do.
Yeah.
We all do. Is that how we're going to start?
That's how we're
guess
gonna
so.
start.
I
All
really
right,
guess so.
To the last podcast on the left, everyone. Ben hanging out with Marcus and Henry. A lot of Roosevelt talk. I didn't know it was going to be so saucy up top.
No, it gets saucier and saucier.
Nice
because-
thing about Franklin Roosevelt's legs, you could eat ketchup right off them.
Yeah, buddy. We are, man, nobody's safe.
Nobody's
Roast
safe.
mode for that former
Nobody's
president. Still lives better than all of us.
But the beginning of this episode, you got to remember what we now know, right? Because we're doing the Manhattan Project. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, it's about history. It's heavy. But remember right now where we're at in the show, it's about a couple of years before the real point of the Manhattan Project, which was to invite aliens into our awareness.
Ah.
They
Very
are now, it
nice.
was our knock on the door
Wow.
to all of the various interdimensional creatures that are
Sure.
living in our oceans generating UFOs by spec for each
This
various
is
pilot
great.
built
Yeah.
for their nervous system to go out and examine us when we do it. It's 1933. They already said it was the first object that they found. It was in Italy.
Do you see the blood vessel, the UFO
It's-
blood vessel that pops when he starts talking about nonsense?
It's real.
I see the blood vessel. I also see our credibility melting away.
No.
Melting away. All right,
Grush is
everyone.
in the front of the news. Grush is the fucking number one whistleblower since fucking who's the guy that did the whistle in
You know what we're gonna do?
Crazy Train. That's a number one
That was
Whistleblower.
Rhodes, the guy
Randy
who died.
Rhodes,
Randy
yeah.
Rhodes. Don't
Tragedy.
get into small planes. Speaking of UFOs, today, speaking of melting, we're on to the Manhattan Project Part 2.
Part 2.
Now, American research into atomic weapons had technically began long before the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, but in truth, it was a half-hearted effort that wasn't much more than a series of meetings and studies that were keeping the project in governmental limbo.
If you want to get into your conspiracy head, just look up the S1 committee. It's an interesting group that's what FDR will put together to develop the Manhattan Project, but old Vannevar Bush, he is around each one of these corners skulking, wondering, when do I get to be president?
Come on over, Vanover. Indeed, what a game of Red Rooster that would be. What's it called again?
Red Rover.
Yeah.
Yeah, Red Rooster's the game where you pin a man down and everybody tries to cover his back with gum.
Oh my goodness, cluck indeed.
But by September of 1942, almost a year after Pearl Harbor,
I'm just keeping us on track.
I know what you're up to.
America got serious about its nuclear program when faced with intelligence that erroneously told them that the Nazis were a hair's breadth away from discovering the secrets to atomic weaponry.
Uh-oh, you unlocked a secret memory. Eggs?
Erroneous. Yes, it's because he used the word erroneous. It is from Ernest.
Goes to camp.
Ernest goes to camp.
Oh.
Eggs erroneous.
It's from the two guys. It was Vern and the other guy that was the big fat guy, and then the other guy with the scrunched up face.
That had no teeth.
Yeah.
Let's just hop right into it.
Let's really just get right into it. But you also remember the Nazis, the science for this was born in Nazi Germany. It was there ready to go. So you could see why everybody thought that the Nazis had the jump.
A lot of great people were born in Nazi Germany, weren't they?
Huh?
They were born.
Let's roll forward
To
with
make
the
Germany better.
astroturfing of history.
Later, after the Nazis, you mean?
Yes.
Yes. Hitler's children, as they're called.
God.
They truly are.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
And listen to the upcoming series on Krautrock on No Dogs in Space for more on that.
Ah, yes.
He's weird.
But to head up what was no doubt a massive project, the government chose a man named General Leslie Groves.
Yep. He is definitely looking like a pig in fatigues, but he was the man who got the job done. Not a Matt Damon.
No.
Oh, also, let's do right now up top. Cillian Murphy did not know.
His name is Killian?
It's
His name's
Cillian Murphy,
Killian.
which kind of makes it more goth and cool. It's nice, but this is my official.
Gives a fuck.
I'm
sorry.
His parents named him
I'm learning.
Killian?
It's a very common Irish name.
It's an Irish name.
Yeah, it's a common
Typical.
Irish name.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
God. Let's just get right into it.
Let's just hop right in.
Now, Groves was a decisive man who hardly ever took more than an hour to make even the most complicated decisions.
I like it.
Groves was so confident in his own abilities that he was often quoted as saying,
If I can't do the job, no man can.
You can't be that confident. It took him an hour to order at Starbucks. Make a choice.
no more than an hour.
Oh, okay.
Like-
Well, he
no
was
more
making-
than an hour.
He was
Okay.
making bigger decisions than that. They said the thing about Leslie Groves
Right.
is that he knew how to bring the spam to the front lines, which is kind of a euphemistic
The pork
term.
shoulder.
Well, just the idea of like he could figure out how to get things, or he could figure out how to get shit done.
He's a logistics master.
Okay.
And he was also a massive dickhead.
Makes sense.
Yes, that's partly because he was arrogant, extraordinarily arrogant. But his arrogance was only part of what made people hate him. What truly made people's blood boil was the fact that 99 times out of 100, Leslie Groves was absolutely right.
But you know the problem is with this guy not understanding office culture? The thing is called make it look like you're working.
Oh,
Why are you making, like, you know when the
Yes.
guy shows up, he's new, and he's just like, I
I'm
love working
volunteering
here
for this
at
and do
Dick
this.
McFuck's pancake shit. And then that's where you actually shit, you drink the batter and you shit the pancake on the
Marcus,
right around
have
the
you
plate.
been to Dick McFuck's pancake shit? Because actually, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad, but new Rory, he's a little annoying.
Yeah.
I actually would base it all on the fupa, because Leslie Groves has truly one of the most important fupas in all of history.
A power fupa.
There's
Yeah.
something about a fupa that, like, on one day, back in the day,
Yeah.
it denoted responsibility,
Yeah.
a stalwart nature.
Yeah.
But now, you're just Chris Christie in a baseball uniform.
Oh my
Which is
God, the
unfortunate
best.
because they have the same body.
They do.
Wow.
Well, Chris Christie's far beyond. I would put Leslie Groves more like, because Chris Christie has like a Tweedledum body.
Yes.
Leslie Groves is more of a penguin body.
Oh, yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
old school penguin, because even if you look at his face, he has that nose that comes out to the point.
He does.
Yeah. But Groves was notorious for bad first impressions. But more often than not, everyone around him had to swallow their pride because Groves very simply got shit done. For example, Groves had been in charge of all domestic army construction during World War II, which was basically the infrastructure that made America the industrial powerhouse of production that made us one of the big dogs of the war effort.
Big dogs eat. Thank you, ladies.
Yeah, that's right. All the men are away. The ladies come out to work.
Yeah, I Googled Rosie Riveter the other day. Holy hell.
She was hot.
Yeah,
I like a girl with some guns.
Yeah, it was Rosie Riveter and Pamela. Also, this guy looks like a fat version of that one dude who did all the scary voices. Remember that guy with the...
Mel Blanc.
No, not Mel Blanc.
Do you think Bugs Bunny is a scary voice?
Stop it, Marcus. Don't even bring it up.
The guy who started it, the guy who did the beginnings of the fantastic hit song by the really healthy intellectual
Oh, you're
Michael
talking
Jordan.
about Vincent Price. He does look like a fat Vincent
He's
Price.
a fat Vincent Price.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson,
Sure.
by the way.
Vincent Porks.
Oh.
Well, Groves oversaw the building of camps, depots, army bases, munition plants, hospitals, airplane factories, and most impressively, Groves was the dude who built the Pentagon.
Yeah, he was, again, he's a go-to guy for getting massive projects done.
And getting them done domestically.
Yeah.
Less impressively, when we're talking about domestic camps, Groves also oversaw the construction of the Japanese internment camps that wrongfully imprisoned 120,000 Japanese American citizens throughout World War II out of a question of loyalty.
I was
Yeah,
hanging
right.
out with a friend of our family, and they every year they go down and they do this dance that is a theme around an army base that was throwing a big dance around the time of Pearl Harbor, when Pearl Harbor happened. And right after that, they basically everybody that was on the coast was in a constant panic about getting attacked again. So back in the day,
On the West Coast.
on the West Coast, yeah, everybody there was like, they threw a big dance, and then it famously got interrupted by there was like a false alarm, and there was a bunch of sirens and the air raid sirens, and everyone ran away and it stopped the dance. So now what they do is they do a yearly sort of like, we're gonna do that same dance, we're gonna dress in period costume and do swing dancing and stuff. And she says, and it's amazing because there's this one Japanese family that always comes in full internment camp costume, and they dance and they just love being a part of it. And I was like,
Yeah.
do they?
Well, that's kind of nice. That's a friend of the family, huh?
It really keeps
A
it
friend
going.
of the family.
Are you serious about that?
Yes.
Well, I don't know.
I thought,
They should.
I thought that's not a bit.
No. And it's like doing a dance in Italy where you get a couple guys in full concentration camp, like pajama outfits. Remember Robin Williams and Jacob the Liar? Horrible
There
movie.
you go.
Horrible movie.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
everyone has fun in a different way, don't they?
My God, yeah, it sounds like the Jerry
Jerry Lewis.
the Jerry Lewis concentration camp clown movie.
That's good. Next year, it might go into public domain. They're saying that we might be able to see it next year.
That's incredible.
The day the clown cried.
The day the clown cried.
Okay.
But regardless of his sins, by July of 1942, Leslie Groves was overseeing 1 million men and women who were dedicated solely to the war effort, and he was spending around $8 billion in the process.
Woo.
But part of what made this Herculean effort possible was the fact that Groves spent zero effort in the human resources department.
Yeah, man, no room for that shit, man. Now when you're building a goddamn Pentagon.
No, HR is going to get in the way of all of the war crimes.
That's the idea.
He was demanding, abrasive, sarcastic, disrespectful, and was described as a son of a bitch and the biggest asshole in the military by more than a few people.
You know how big that asshole has to be the biggest in the military?
But he was also, like so many people in this story, brilliant in his own field, an incredible construction foreman and a genius at organization. And if not for him, the Manhattan Project would not have succeeded.
It is interesting because he did not want to do the Manhattan Project.
No.
He was one of those guys that was real excited to go kill people. He was like, send me to Europe. I want to go fight. I'm done with this shit. And they're like, we actually have this thing that is going to end the war faster than anything that we do when we go over to Europe. Like, this weapon is going to end it. And he was of the school class where he says, like, weapons don't end wars, people end wars.
Yeah.
So he actually started this pretty kind of skeptical that this was going to even do anything.
Well, isn't that interesting? They're both right.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Well, I mean, he saw it as a demotion. When he was given the job, he had access to $600 million per month. And that was all just to get projects done. But at the outset, the entire budget for the Manhattan Project was the relatively smaller sum of $100 million.
Oh, how's he ever going to make ends meet with that?
Hey, it's not, it's on his personal salary. It's $600 million per month versus $100 million total for an entire project. It's relatively smaller.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, but they're going to David Lynch him, which is they're going to show up because when David Lynch did season 3 of Twin Peaks, he just told them how much more money he needed each week. And they were like, what? And so he did not pay attention to the budget.
The creation of the world's most powerful bomb is a lot like season 3 of Twin Peaks.
There's a lot of other comparisons I'm going to make today.
Which episode 8 included an absolutely wonderful atomic bomb explosion using
cracking the world open.
Yeah.
Bomb game for the fucking bomb.
David Lynch eats the same lunch every single day.
Yeah, and yes, he does. And actually, for that episode, the music that's played in the background of season 8 when the atomic bomb is set off.
Season 3, episode 8.
Season 3, episode 8. What that song is I think it's called like Lanatni, something for the victims of Hiroshima. And it's supposed to sound like the screaming of everybody who died all at once.
Well, it's a great scene.
Yeah.
That's a great gift to them. They're going to love that song.
It's called Ouch.
Ouch.
Well, basically, Groves figured that he'd finally pissed off too many people in the Pentagon. That's why he was being put on the Manhattan Project. And again, he was the guy who was responsible for building the Pentagon. See, a lot of people in the military saw the idea of an atomic weapon as a little wacky. Partly this was believed out of ignorance, and partly it was believed out of arrogance. Basically, they thought no stupid fucking scientist is going to make my Navy obsolete.
Not the Navy.
Well, therefore, a lot of military brass figured that an atomic bomb project was an almost guaranteed failure. So they took a brilliant yet unlikable manager and sidelined him, thinking that the experience might teach him some humility. But with a guy like Groves, spite is the strongest fuel you can give him.
To most people.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful.
Oh, indeed.
He therefore threw himself into the Manhattan Project completely, and if he hadn't, the entire operation would have died on the vine for good or ill. Now, contrary to the belief that the project's name was randomly chosen, General Groves followed the custom of naming Army Corps of Engineers projects for the city in which they were located. And as it happened, the first offices for this project were on Broadway and Chambers Street, right near City Hall in downtown Manhattan.
There you go.
Oh, local boy, make good.
Local boy.
It's from my town.
Yeah,
Local boy.
started with 12 people, and it was thus christened the Manhattan Project.
It's kind of like when people name their kids after where they were conceived.
Oh, yeah.
You ever meet somebody named
Trunk.
like Chevy Dealer or
Yeah.
outside of Coney Island? You ever been at Coney Island?
Name is Trunk Johnson.
Now, if this was going to be done right, Leslie Groves needed a head scientist who wouldn't just research atomic energy, but who could actually build an atomic weapon. Paradoxically, though, he chose a theoretical physicist named Robert Oppenheimer.
Mr. J.R. Oppenheimer, he's in there, and his main lament. Doesn't anybody care about learning?
I don't think they do.
I wish that they would. Numbers are better than people.
Well, you're going to give them 2 really big examples to learn from.
Now, growing up, Oppenheimer was remembered as being a quote-unquote repulsively good little boy.
I could be better.
Repulsively good. What does that even mean? You know when someone is so good, you know they're conniving.
Mhm.
Well, he was a genius. He was truly a genius as a little boy, and he loved learning.
Yeah. Well, later on, he would say that his childhood did not prepare him for the fact that the world was full of cruel and bitter things.
Oh,
That
again, like the aforementioned Michael Jackson.
It gave him, in his words, maybe like Michael Jackson, no normal way to be a bastard.
That's what he said. And that he just threw himself. He came from very wealthy family that escaped from. They came from Germany. They moved to the Upper West Side of New York City. They were very well off. He was educated at all the finest schools. He was a very spoiled boy.
He sounds like a bastard to me.
No, well, they looked at him as their precious, very bright son. They said immediately, as soon as he showed up in school, I started reading American Prometheus, which is a really great book, but it's fucking too long.
Yeah.
It's 1,200 pages.
That's a lot of pages.
But the whole, he didn't know what to do. He literally came out brilliant and immediately was like an other to the other kids because, again, he was born a dweeb.
Yeah. He's a Martian. Yeah.
Okay.
Rise from your grave.
Well, while earlier documentaries about Oppenheimer and the Manhattan Project in general, they gave a more idealized version of Robert Oppenheimer. He's a strapping, sporty man. But
Huge cock, heavy balls.
Well, he was one of those guys who's lanky and tall, so you know he actually probably was packing.
yeah,
50-50 shot.
50-50 shot of like a big gross dick.
I am more inclined to believe 5'7" and under. That's how they've been able to stud. They do have longer ding dongs. Technically, I'm giving you a compliment and your people.
I'm fine.
And then 6'9" and then just growing like a potato.
Yeah.
They all like Otis Tool.
Oh, sure.
5'7" and 6'8" and above.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, later biographies relented and pegged Oppenheimer as a frail, frequently ill child who spent most of his time collecting minerals and writing poems.
Did none of you like looking for barium? He really
how do you
was
collect minerals?
obsessed with minerals.
What do you mean? How do you collect? What do you do? Go down to the
It's
goddamn
rocks.
park?
No, it's rocks.
It's just rocks.
He collected rocks.
Jesus,
what
they're
a
minimal.
sad.
He's-
What a sad childhood.
I'm pretty certain that Dan Aykroyd based a lot of Egon on J. Robert Oppenheimer, because you remember he was just like when he scrapes the gunk off the thing and he says like, "This is for my collection of molds and spores." Like it's the same shit.
That's what he does as a hobby. He collects
Yes.
spores, molds, and fungus.
Yes.
That is better than minerals.
Well, they're pretty rocks. They're
Okay,
very pretty rocks.
Great.
I
Awesome.
hope you guys like basalt.
I'm about to take some now.
But Oppenheimer grew up and he subsequently killed it academically at Harvard. And he went on to become a highly respected yet unhonored theoretical physicist. No Nobel Prize.
Why
Yeah.
not?
And that's weird. It's like one of those things where, to me, I imagine the Nobel Prize is this like massive, crazy thing, you know?
Mhm.
But it's kind of like how when you work in show business in Los Angeles and you start to see like how the Emmys and all this stuff are like work functions.
Yeah.
In that world, the Nobel Prize is just more like, yeah, well, Jerry got one. They literally are like the way they treat it. They were like,
Right.
it's a thing that you're supposed to get that is supposed to show that you are now like crazy legit.
It's also part of a massive cover up because a lot of people that have won it are warmongers.
What he did one, he didn't get it.
Yeah, well, think about it this way. Oppenheimer not having a Nobel, it's kind of like Leo never getting an Oscar.
Well, he finally did get it for The Revenant, but he didn't really deserve it for The Revenant. He was better in Wolf.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. It's more of a lifetime achievement.
It was made more of a thank you, Leo,
Yes.
for your contributions.
Well, by 1942, when Leslie Groves was on the search for a scientist to head the Manhattan Project, Oppenheimer was 38 years old and teaching at UC Berkeley. Now, one fellow professor at UC had a harsh view of Oppenheimer's overall vibe, said that he was always nervous. He moved with an odd, half-jogging, arm-swinging gait.
That's not nervous. That's motivated. You got to get there.
A strange guy.
Yeah, he always cocked his head just a little bit to one side, and one shoulder was always slightly higher than the other.
But then he always got his big hat on. Like he's got his pork pie hat
good.
because, and I know why now. Have you seen his hair?
Is it wiry?
He looks like Frankenstein's monster.
Well, that's
his
not
hair
so bad.
sticks straight up. I am again, another point to I think Egon is based on J. Robert Oppenheimer because the hair goes straight up.
Well, this professor went on to say that Oppenheimer looked simultaneously like a young Einstein and an overgrown choir boy.
Oh, great. What a combo.
Also had horrible teeth,
Yeah.
had a
Good.
constant cough, chain smoked Chesterfields,
Okay.
and was emaciated because he'd just forget to eat. One of those
Marcus,
guys.
are you just
Interesting.
describing yourself from 2012?
He really did. The only thing that's changed is the cigarettes.
Yeah. Hey, I got my teeth fixed.
I know the
Yeah, this
teeth.
is- I
Oh
just-
my! The made up issue.
It's
in
just
Marcus's
nice.
life.
He was too nice to make up other things about him.
I don't even. You look great. You look great. Also,
We love it.
Sandra Bullock. That was the worst Oscar ever given out. The Blind Sides
Oh,
of
Yeah,
the
very
that
World
was
much so.
horrible.
Travis
Yeah,
Ship
yeah,
film.
that's terrible.
All she did was literally go to a black neighborhood, and people were like, "I can't believe you did that." And it's
Wow,
like, you know,
you're so-
people live there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because he was emaciated, Oppenheimer's body was a great embarrassment to himself.
Yeah.
He was therefore rarely naked.
You
which-
never nude.
Yeah, which surprises me because the Oppenheimer movie just got an R rating for nudity and sexuality.
They're throwing tits in there.
I guess
Well,
so.
because he has, because what we're
Yeah.
going to learn about J. Robert Oppenheimer is like, yeah, he's a nerd, but later on, he's going to flourish as a man who fucks
Mhm.
and fucks pretty regularly. So he had his,
Yeah.
he had several affairs, and I'm pretty certain that's where the sucky comes from in
You think so?
Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I want a
Oh.
really graphic sex scene with J.
Nothing
Robert
makes
Oppenheimer.
me want to see. All I want is I want a loop of Cillian Murphy's orgasm face. Just him. Because you know he's so scary. He's so scary.
Oh, yeah.
I can't imagine him hovering over me. And I'm sorry. It just scares me.
Yeah.
He's just his icy blue eyes just going, I'm going to come. Like, his weird, like, little, very scary.
Little Irish accent. I think Oppenheimer smells like the inside of a Ziploc bag after you take a bologna sandwich out of it.
You know, you will get it. Yeah, he was fairly dapper.
Well, just like Leslie Groves, Oppenheimer was an absolute genius. But as opposed to Groves, Oppenheimer was generally well-liked just so long as he liked you.
Yeah, I was watching the trials of J. Robert Oppenheimer, and the way they all talk about it, being like, yeah, he was like smart or whatever, but he was kind of mean. Like, you see all these like scientists being like, you're just jealous.
Yeah, just jealous. Well, if he didn't like you, if you were talking, he would start doing this weird German accent, like this affected accent, and he would go like, yeah, until you shut up. And then when you shut up, he would destroy your argument before you even made it because he knew exactly what you were going to say.
Well, he's right. He's correct.
Well, that was the thing, is that he often flexed. He said he had a hard time not berating people because he was so much smarter than everybody else, which you see him blossom. Into administrator over the years.
Yeah, I really understand this guy. I understand where he's coming from.
No, I know. I'm so awed by Kissel's just sheer intellectual.
The number game.
The force. He just says the word number game, and I know that I don't know what he means,
like,
but he seems to know what he knows.
I know what he means by the number game.
You don't know what I mean.
I think I know what you mean. I think you mean that if you tell people they're stupid often enough, you're going to be right, and you're going to be right sometimes.
Broken clock is right 6 times a day. It's literally what he's saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Good work. Good work, boys.
Now, Oppenheimer grew up apolitical, but around 1936, when it became impossible to ignore that horrible things were happening to Jewish people in Germany, Oppenheimer finally became interested in world events. There was also a much more personal reason why he got into politics. Oppenheimer got horny for a communist.
Yeah, buddy, it ain't hard. It ain't hard because you know the best part about a communist? They always share.
There you go. You really got him good there. There
is a lot of factors here. Like, this is this is one of those like extremely complicated subjects in history that everyone kind of tears apart in and out and again. Oppenheimer as a communist. How did he get into it?
A communist.
What did he move? Well, there's a lot. That's what I was saying. If we were writing a book about this subject,
if we were writing American Prometheus,
we too would have a 200-page sequence where we try to chart how the fact that Oppenheimer got really into the Spanish Civil War, and on the side that was anti-Franco, and a bunch of He grew up with no friends because he was such an alien. Later on, he gets to college. He gets into these sort of like what we now call hippie-ish movements, where at the time, which like closely linked to communist ideals and thought patterns.
As opposed to now.
But he literally became like super interested in it because he finally got friends. So on one level, you can kind of see, yes, obviously he cared about politics and he cared about people and he wanted to get involved. And most humanitarian projects at the time were all on the left side versus the right side. But you could also probably say the last podcast version, because we're not writing American Prometheus, is the fact he was trying to fuck. And he was finally amongst a bunch of cool, cigarette-smoking, communist people talking about cool things in the scene.
I believe that would be the human element, would it not?
Absolutely. And through her, Oppenheimer started hanging out with communists. He didn't really accept or really even understand Marx or Engels. But
he went through Das Kapital. That's what they're all saying. Well, the fact that he was the only person in those rooms that read Das Kapital, because he was also interested in philosophy and religion, which comes up time and time again because of his mystical nature. But it was like communism light. Yeah. Because he still kind of viewed like, these are things that can help in America and help society, but it was not really about what was going on in Russia at the time.
Hate to break it to him. He's really going to do something anti-communist.
Oh, well, this is but then they immediately put him on trial right after the war. There's like a whole thing. They destroy his whole life.
Yeah, he gets caught up in McCarthyism pretty fucking hard. But back then, in the 1930s, Oppenheimer just thought that commies were a good hang, which they are. They are. You got to leave the party.
Sometimes it
you got to leave the party when they actually start talking about communism, because that's when it just starts getting no fun.
And I love our communist listeners. We have a lot of them, but you do tend to lecture.
Yes.
Which I do understand. There's a lot of reading to do.
Yeah,
with capitalism, you just show up and you got your McDonald's. Like as long as you show up every day as the manager of McDonald's, you're fine.
Yeah. They're not bringing back the Irish milkshake. You know the Irish milkshake?
The Shamrock Shake.
The Shamrock Shake. They haven't done it in years.
I think they
Isn't
said
that
it
weird?
was racist or something.
No. Against
This
the
is like,
Irish?
it's American to shit green.
Oh, my God.
But I suppose Oppenheimer did hang out through the conversations because he eventually met and married a communist named Kitty.
Oh.
Kitty had been previously married to an American Communist Party official named Joe Dowlett, who died volunteering in the Spanish Civil War. Apparently, he was a commander, but he wasn't a well-liked commander.
I believe it.
And during a charge one day, he got up, he ran out there, men just didn't follow him. He got shot and killed.
Yeah,
Follow
right
me,
in the head.
guys. Follow me. Oh, wait.
Oh, shit.
guys. It reminds me of Jenny. When she was dating that very mean.
your Black Panther Party.
Yes, when she was marrying that very mean man. She was dating him and he was abusive.
Mhm.
But he was a protester too, though, so it was very complicated.
No,
Yeah.
it was not complicated. He was
How-
an asshole.
How does that in any way relate to this?
It doesn't.
Because Oppenheimer, because he was.
Just say numbers
it's
game.
Because,
Just say the words
no,
numbers
it's
game.
because
game.
he. Wait, you did say something that related to Jenny.
You had,
He just got lost. He just literally, he
You got
heard
lost in
something.
the
He was just
sauces
like,
now.
something like, sounds like Forrest Gump.
That is Forrest
Sounds like
Gump.
Forrest
No,
Gump.
it's
Go
because
back.
you said.
Bring
No,
me
what
for-
I'm
what's
saying
Forrest
is-
Gump say? What does he say? Jenny?
Jenny.
Say. All right, let me just say in the show. They've been talking for minutes.
They're
Let me say it
assholes.
right now.
That's what I'm saying. They're assholes, like the man who was beating up Jenny, who also took advantage of a special needs man.
Hey, he was smart enough. I may not be a smart man, but I know what love is.
No. I mean, that's not
taught her how to
mutually
dangle.
exclusive. Yeah, well. Yeah.
Well, when it came to Oppenheimer's allegiances, communism was really more of his wife's thing. For Oppenheimer, as it was for many Americans, everything changed when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. And when he was given the opportunity to beat the Nazis to the bomb, he jumped.
Oh, yes, because he also, because of his connection to the Communist Party, he actually met people that were in the first round of concentration camps at Dachau and got out. And so when he heard that, this was like, these are all the X factors that got him involved because he really was like a peacenik.
Yeah.
Like he did not want to be a part of this. He believed that politics were disgusting. He did not want to have anything to do with it. He just loved his science. But the Nazis were the single most unifying factor in modern time period to get everybody all together on one page to build an atomic bomb.
The Nazis got 3 X's on X Factor, and they're out of here.
They're out of here.
Now, on paper, Oppenheimer was a terrible choice to head the Manhattan Project.
Oh, good.
He had no experience leading a large group. He had no experience engineering a project because he was a theoretical physicist. His wife and his brother were communists.
They didn't want him.
No, and as opposed to so many other candidates, Oppenheimer didn't have, as I said, a Nobel Prize.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm a theoretical power lifter.
Yeah. In my mind, I lift a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But could you write an extensive paper on powerlifting
Yeah.
and teach a class on powerlifting
Yes.
and have it actually be helpful?
Yeah.
Then for it to be helpful,
Yeah.
please do.
Pick the shit up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Times 3. Shut the fuck up.
Sounds like a regular Richard Feynman who can really boil complex
I used to
systems down.
I
This
know
is
how to
just
do it.
that's allegorical teaching. Just say numbers game. That's all you gotta say.
Yeah. Powerlifting is a numbers game. And
It
then
is
that's
a
it.
numbers game.
Yeah, because
It
weight
is.
is numbers.
I
Isn't it?
know that. Pick it up and down, up and down, up and down. Times 3. Shut the fuck up.
Richard Feynman.
So when it came to why Groves chose Oppenheimer, he did it for the same reason he did everything. He had a gut feeling that Oppenheimer was the right man for the job.
Say
and
it.
he was fucking right.
It was a fupa feeling.
It was a fupa feeling. I feel it down on my fupa, and it's going down on my toes. He also was brought in, right? So one of Oppenheimer's old buddies was the guy who invented the cyclotron, who won a Nobel Prize for building the cyclotron. And so when they started these like very serious meetings, which was how do we figure this out? He's like, you got to meet my buddy Oppie, which is what they call him. This guy is a fucking literal cross the board genius. He's a half a communist, but he does this shit. And they're like, all right. So he brings him into a room, his first meeting, and he nails in that meeting what Werner Heisenberg bobbled the years before. He made a fucking formula right there to tell them how much uranium-235 theoretically would be needed to build an atomic bomb, and he was really close immediately. So they're like, oh, he might actually be kind of necessary for this, and then he kind of like build himself up. But he was campaigning to be in charge of it, and everybody else were like, well, He's a fucking communist. He's going to be a spy, but they just don't know. Actually, it was way more of his students.
Oh, is that something?
Yeah, but in the end, they're like, well, he's too fucking smart. Oh, he's so fucking smart.
Yes, indeed.
Well, the weird thing was that Oppenheimer was about the only person in the Manhattan Project who could actually get along with Leslie Groves. In turn, Groves had a high opinion of Oppenheimer, saying that he was the right man for the job of building an atomic weapon because Oppenheimer knew about everything except sports.
That was his main problem. Is he couldn't talk sports, which I understand. I'm trying to bridge the gap to straight men.
I don't even know what the sport was. It just baseball and candlestick bowling?
Yeah.
Candle bowling?
It's hard to talk to straight men.
So what are you saying? Only
You do
straight
it
men
all the
like
time.
only
You do
straight
it
men
every
like
day.
sports? That's not true.
That's all but the others. Others, when you
Just
meet them
men.
out there.
You're
you
just
have
talking
to-
about men.
You used to have to say, like, Shaquille O'Neal, he was bad at free throws. I've learned to say
He
stuff like
was.
that. And then they go like, and they'll say a bunch of stuff. And I go,
Right.
yeah. The GOAT.
The goat indeed.
Crossovers, man. Huh. These guys, they're not even allowed to dribble anymore.
Wow, just like Oppenheimer.
Now, before the enormous infrastructure needed to make an atomic weapon was built, Groves and the people holding the purse needed to see that such a weapon was even possible. So, Enrico Fermi, he headed up a project that aimed to create their first nuclear reaction, and he did it on the squash courts underneath the bleachers at the University of Chicago.
Okay, let me explain. Imagine the nuclear weapon is like a spaghetti. And you put it, you got it, it's a spaghetti. You got a
got
noodle,
that.
right? Oh, you got a noodle. Oh, you got to put it in the pasta water.
Yeah.
Oh, and then that's the sauce. And then also, I need a bit of
Are you
Parmesan.
French?
They're
Now
going to
you're-
put some etouffee in there?
Now you're French. Now you're really French. That's great.
Bear me, call me when it's boom boom time.
Wow, like spaghetti indeed.
I can talk about many subjects,
I know you can.
just like Robert Oppenheimer.
Now, if you'll remember, physicist Walter Botha of Germany's uranium club, he believed that graphite couldn't be used to produce nuclear reactions. So he had therefore moved on to the far more expensive route of using heavy water. The Americans, however, had known that graphite was the better option. So they got to work on what was called a pile.
Oh, yeah, buddy. That's where I come in.
I think, honestly, that would be Kissel's one true contribution to the
We
Manhattan
need-
Project.
A pile.
We need to, like, make it round.
What kind of pile?
Big.
You want a big pile? I can get you a big pile. Yeah. Yeah, that's about it.
It's a numbers game.
It's a number pile. Yeah, that's a number pile.
Using 771,000 pounds of graphite bricks, the scientists spent 17 days building an egg-shaped mound 25 feet wide and 2 stories tall, right there on the squash court.
Damn, that's huge.
Adorably, Enrico Fermi, he made calculations with instruments that he'd named after Winnie the Pooh characters, like
Why?
Piglet and Roo and Heffalump.
It's going to lead to the destruction of all humanity.
No.
me, a Fermi.
Oh, my God.
He'd been reading Winnie the Pooh books to teach him English because he didn't know
That's
English.
because he's a sociopath.
And Christopher Robin, he imagined all the different animals,
Yes,
right?
Christopher
He
Robin
make
was
a laugh
abused.
because they say, yes, Christopher Robin, he way molested.
We don't know about that.
He make up the creatures to talk to because in his mind, he separate from the abuse, yo.
Yes, indeed.
Now, within these graphite cubes were uranium slugs dispersed throughout, like,
Okay.
He said he abuse, yo.
No.
Yes.
Not Christopher Robin. If anything, he's guilty of so many horrible things. That's why he lives in the woods. You know, they actually do have that theory that he buries the bodies in the woods and then he pretends like Winnie the Pooh is around there and Piglet's around there. He's a serial killer,
It's a
Christopher
numbers
Robbins.
game.
It is indeed.
well, uranium slugs were dispersed throughout these graphite cubes like so many nuclear raisins in graphite loaves.
People say we can't teach.
Look at that. I like that.
I took that analogy. I stole that. That was from the making of the atomic bomb.
Oh, it's really good
The
then.
author used that. Yeah, nuclear raisins and graphite loaves.
Can we change it to chocolate chips?
Yeah.
Great.
Now it's ours.
Fantastic.
Each little bit contributed to the main goal, which was to create a nuclear chain reaction on a small scale. If they could do that, then they could move forward with the work of making a weapon that could produce a much larger nuclear chain reaction on command that would release enough energy to destroy a city, i.e. an atomic bomb.
Well, because that's what J. Robert Oppenheimer discovered early on. That's what he said. He's like, as soon as the math came out, what everybody said was like, oh, so basically you follow this nuclear fission concept and eventually, yada, 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 it's going to explode. You just let it go and let it explode. But this also shows the kind of scattershot way they started to build a weapon, because Leslie Groves would kind of set up all these areas all around the country to try, kind of all in competition against each other to come up with stuff first. But it's weird because it's like playful. They're just dumping a bunch of graphite and nuclear bits in a thing and kind of seeing what the fuck happens with it, when it really could have killed all of them.
Yeah, it really could.
Yes.
Well, this is when theoretical starts to move into practical science.
But that's what Oppenheimer also understood early on. He said originally, like, no, this is all going to be different. It wasn't like Werner Heisenberg. He literally was like, he had to figure out like, oh no, this has to work in real life. Yeah. Like, this isn't a classroom lesson.
Yeah, this is how it moves.
Absolutely. You want to make sure the mathematical formula is correct. Weird Science, that movie, what if instead of that beautiful woman, it was China from the WWE they created and she ripped their dicks off?
I mean, it's another movie, but I like it.
It's kind of fun. She's dead.
I mean, but the idea of it.
R.I.P.
I could be carried around by a big woman.
I know.
Yeah.
Also, the Iron Sheik just died.
Wow.
I know.
You made it a long time.
Speaking of Spike.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Spike.
Now, the danger here was that once the chain reaction in the pile started, it had a chance of going critical. And since they were doing this in the middle of Chicago, that was indeed a grave concern.
I would ask my city council to just be like, did we sanction this?
I don't think they were informed.
Oh, my.
So, as a precaution, they had a dude standing by with an axe whose only job was to chop a rope that would lower a huge rod of cadmium into the heart of the pile. And this would apparently stop the nuclear chain reaction.
That's all? That was it?
Man.
That was the safety net?
No, they had backup guys. They had two dudes with buckets of water.
Oh, my God.
But the water,
that's not going to work.
But the water was laced with cadmium, so they could throw it on the pile, and that would stop the cadmium. It would stop the nuclear chain reaction.
They really should have given the guy a sickle.
Yeah.
A very big axe.
Yeah.
But in the end, the experiment went exactly as planned. At 3:53 p.m. on December 2nd, 1942, just a few days before the first anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor, the so-called Chicago Pile became the world's first working nuclear reactor.
Yeah, it just sounds like something Guy Fieri eats and throws up.
Oh, he doesn't. Also, Guy Fieri, by the way, put some respect on him.
I never will.
He ate raw eggs on an episode.
Yeah, he did.
Wow.
Yes, he's because you don't know, but he doesn't like eggs.
Yes,
I know that.
Like
I know that because you've mentioned it
Yes,
hundreds of
indeed.
times.
Also,
that the guy Fieri doesn't like eggs.
The Chicago
numbers
Pile.
game.
The Chicago Pile. That's exactly who you want running the football on the goal line.
Refrigerator. His name was Refrigerator, though. He already had a nickname.
No, well, I know, but this is the 40s. Refrigerator Perry is just a little. He's just a little cooler.
Think about what Shaquille O'Neal would have done if he could have figured out how to change that free throw ratio.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Now, some stories paint this as a moment of elation. It's a moment where the boys broke out a bottle of Chianti. We got to celebrate this. It's one of the most impressive scientific achievements in history. Now, there was indeed a bottle of Chianti involved, but the scientists sat and drank it from paper cups in silence. And afterward, physicist Leo Szilard solemnly shook Enrico Fermi's hand and said that December 2nd, 1942 would, quote, go down as a black day in the history of mankind.
I have to say, this is certainly a most spicy meatball.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, this spaghetti looks like it's got some squid ink in it.
But now that scientists under American authority had achieved the sort of self-sustaining chain reaction needed to produce an atomic weapon, Leslie Groves was given a massive, almost unlimited budget to get the Manhattan Project off the ground. See, as Fermi and Szilard put it, if a bunch of Americans could build a reactor on a fucking squash court in Chicago, then surely geniuses like Otto Hahn and Werner Heisenberg were miles ahead. Therefore, the Manhattan Project was given an immediate sense of grave urgency. But in reality, Heisenberg had stalled completely, although by appearances, he seemed right on track.
Oh, yeah, he did that on purpose, so he wasn't getting sent to a goddamn concentration camp.
Oh, my God. I can't even imagine when they walk in and you're just like, no, we're heavy. We're busy. We're busy.
Water is the heavy heavier shit. I pulled on my shoulder. That's my problems. I hurt my shoulder lifting the heavy water.
You better come up with frozen pizza or something. You better get something created.
See, by June of 1942, 6 months before the Chicago pile succeeded, Heisenberg was running the most sophisticated nuclear fission experiments in the world. He'd already built 3 piles of his own.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, Heisenberg did not achieve a full nuclear chain reaction with any of these, but each machine was a vast improvement on the last. And based on his progress, one scientist in Chicago estimated that Hitler could have an atomic bomb by the end of 1942.
I think we all know Hitler was obsessed with different kinds of piles. Mostly ones right on his chest.
Yep. You like that poo-poo?
That's what they say.
That's what
Weird
they say.
guy.
I heard that.
He's a weird guy.
Weird guy.
Well, to put that timeline into perspective, if those projections were correct, Hitler having a bomb by the end of 42, he would have had an atomic bomb before the Allies even started gaining footholds in Europe with the invasion of Italy. He would have had it a full year and a half before D-Day.
Have you guys read the biography on Hitler, Weird Guy?
It is crazy.
It's kind of funny. They actually yada like 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
It's mostly about his painting career.
It's a 4-page book.
It's crazy.
Well, in other words, if Hitler had the bomb by the end of 1942, the Allies would be far beyond fucked.
Yes, and wow, that would be crazy. Now, true question, though, it being that Europe, quite tiny, can you really use the bomb on your European enemies without getting fallout in your own goddamn backyard?
They would have learned. Well, what did we know? What do we know about the Nazis? They didn't really even care about themselves. We know that one of the end plans that they were going to do was gas bomb everybody. That was already in a contingency past the atomic bomb. They were ready to kill everybody.
No, 1942, that atomic bomb, that's going to London. They've already taken Paris. They don't need to bomb Paris.
Right.
That shit's going to Moscow. That's going
Moscow,
to
New York. Far away.
Yeah, that's going to New York. It's going to Washington, D.C. Like, there's plenty of places far beyond Germany itself, even far beyond the fucking, because that's the thing, they're taking the Lebensraum, but if it gets a little irradiated for a couple of years, fuck it, it's 1,000-year Reich. They can wait it out.
That is why we have so much room.
Yeah, one thing we learned about New York is they handle it all very well.
Oh, yeah.
But thankfully, Heisenberg's lab was actually a deadly mess. Again, anyone with a bright mind and even a semblance of a moral compass had fled Germany years prior. So all Heisenberg was left with were a bunch of dumb Nazis.
Yeah, shit, fuck company, man.
Oh, no.
Yeah. In the first of many catastrophic lab accidents, an assistant was preparing an experiment and fumbled the powdered uranium.
No.
That produced a 12-foot tall explosion of flames that badly burned the assistant.
My labia! My labia!
The assistant's ordeal, however, was not over. Not too long after, hydrogen leaked into an apparatus containing uranium and heavy water. And who else did they send to deal with it but the dumb fuck assistant?
I can feel maybe we should try Gregory. I fear that Gregory could go in because seemingly half of my mouth is scarred shut due to the meltings of the fires and the burnings.
Yep. Let's see if he dies.
Again, the powdered uranium exploded.
It's happening again.
Man, this guy is having a bad day.
He was covered in hot flames. They said hot flames were poured upon him.
I got to get out of this internship.
Yes, indeed, my friend.
And wanting to help, the other Nazi assistants brought buckets of water to put out the fire.
Use milk.
But they were also dumb Nazis because burning uranium has a habit of reacting explosively with water.
Oh, you're making it worse and worse.
It is funny.
And so when they tried putting out the fire like it's a fucking Three Stooges sketch, the apparatus exploded like a grenade and threw hundreds of metal rivets.
Yeah.
This time, the flames were 20 feet high, and those in the lab who weren't killed by the explosion were seen running in terror. The firefighters who showed up couldn't put a dent in the blaze, so they had to let it just run its course for 2 days, like a fucking tire fire.
So tell me, Werner, how was the experiment this weekend?
Bad.
Yeah, you're just going to want to let it breathe itself out there. You just want to let it go.
We are in a waiting period where the flames are doing their work, so then we can do our work.
Well, technically, it was better because the first flame's 12 feet, second flame's 20 feet. I mean, next thing you know, boom, 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 boom. Absolutely. You're doing a great job, pal.
I wish the experiments would stop.
I know you're burned. Every time I see you, a different part of your body is burned.
There has to be another assistant
Oh, I
that
think
can do this.
buddy, your nose is falling off.
I know. You don't
your
think I
nose
don't.
is-
You don't think I don't feel it. You don't think I don't feel it.
No,
Slide.
man, we're bad scientists, huh?
But perhaps what was interfering with Heisenberg's work the most were the demands and trappings of Nazi society itself. Like it is with any government built around a cult of personality, fealty had to be paid to Hitler and the state constantly. So Heisenberg found himself required to attend endless state functions and lectures to talk about how there were totally smart people left in Nazi Germany.
Absolutely tremendous people, nothing but the best teams. Everybody's pulling together. Tremendous people,
Great.
tremendous work. Tremendous
Absolutely.
work all around. Me, why am I not busy working? Because they let me it's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game. Burnt up all of your staff and crew and, half of yourself.
As a result, Heisenberg's work on nuclear fission was completely stalled by 1943. At the same
Wow, what a total epic fucking failure.
Oh yeah. He was very happy though because then it got him out of the spotlight with his bosses.
Yeah.
1943.
It's done. America keeps believing for 2 years that he is miles ahead of him.
That's the power of playing like you're behind, even if you're in the lead.
It's what I love your term. We always talk about it. Under promise,
Over deliver.
That's what we do.
At the same time, though, another Axis power had shown interest in atomic weaponry. And these people just happened to be the very same on whom the first nuclear weapon would be used.
What do you mean, these people? Oh, Nazis? Yes.
No, I mean Japanese.
Oh, no.
Yes. By 1942...
That was bad then.
It is. Yes.
By 1942, Japan had also been making progress on atomic research. See, they knew that America was very likely working on an atomic bomb themselves. Because as Henry said, once the math was out there, everyone knew that it was possible. And the
I didn't. Because you imagine if we saw that
Everyone.
if the whole world was just us, it was just again.
Yeah, Bob Hope didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or if you said to the other comedians at that time period, they didn't no idea.
No.
Vaudeville was completely unaware
Absolutely.
of nuclear fission.
And so Japan, they projected that they themselves would need at least 10 years to produce an atomic weapon.
Wow.
But this didn't really bother them because Japanese scientists believed that neither the United States nor even their allies Germany, they didn't believe that any of them had the resources or the industrial capacity to produce a nuclear bomb before the war ended.
Now, this is another one of those massively debated questions of history of why, because we talked a little bit before the show, where why did they think that? And we how did the Japanese, why do they not think that we wouldn't be able to do this thing? And it just seems like it's because they were very kind of closed off to our culture.
Well, Japan just massively underestimated America.
Yeah.
They thought, seriously, with Pearl Harbor, they thought basically there was an oil embargo.
There's a lot of history
but I can
put into a sentence.
I can boil it down. There was an oil embargo on Japan that was the United States was a part of because Japan has very few resources of its own. So the Japanese figured all we got to do, we can bomb Pearl Harbor, we'll take out America's entire Navy all at once, and we can start to get oil again. But
there you go. It's a numbers game. 1, 2, 3.
See, look at that.
Yeah. But what they didn't figure on was the fact that America could just build another Navy, and we could build another one, and we can build another one. And that's the other thing about it is that they did not realize that if you bop America on the nose, we will not stop until you are all dead.
Yep, that's why it's important. See, that's the birth of the American war machine that you all in other countries get to experience all the time. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome for that nuclear. You're welcome for that nuclear weapon on your country's soil.
How is that
welcome.
new tech going over in Ukraine, by the way? I'd love to see it in action. That's the power of the pent-up Pentecostal.
Yes.
There is so much hidden rage. And this is still the time of America and idealism, right?
Oh, yeah.
So they're just you don't fuck with us.
This is actually before the idealism part. Technically,
You mean
we're
American exceptionalism?
Exceptionalism.
Oh, no, this is full. We are isolationists at this point in history.
Okay.
World War
So
One.
when they woke up a sleeping giant.
They did?
That's it. Those were Hitler's exact words.
I gotta go.
Now, interestingly enough,
I gotta go.
in chapter 7, a weird guy, he actually does. He says if you mix watercolors with your tangible solubles,
That's incredible.
you can actually make a really good river.
Gitzel's comedy is really just a numbers game.
It's a
You just
numbers
never know what
game.
comes up.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Rush Limbaugh said. I think about that from the birdcage.
Well, Japan, because they didn't believe that America had the resources to build an atomic bomb, they diverted all of the resources they may have spent on atomic research to radar technology. Because that's the other thing, too, is that, again, Japan's problem is always resources. They didn't really have access to a whole lot of uranium, so atomic research was kind of a waste of their time.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like a good build.
And honestly,
Radar?
they're so svelte over there, most of their water is very thin.
Yeah.
There you go. You really nailed that one.
What do you want from me?
No, radar was actually a great
big?
use.
Yeah.
Oh, no, radar was a great use of their resources. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, they really should have put more into, what do you call it? Codes. Because once America broke the codes, it was all over for Japan.
Up, down, left, right. I'm a virgin. And then you have all those lives in Contra.
ABACABB, you know that.
I actually never knew that.
What's happening, guys?
Contra.
Up, down,
Am
left,
I?
up,
Am I
down,
the only
down,
person who's
left,
not
right,
the nerd?
Left, right.
Is this me? Is this a nerd alert on
start.
YouTube? This is a nerd alert on YouTube.
Up,
Wow.
up, down, down, left, right, AB, start, 30 lives, Contra, that's fine.
Unbelievable.
Larry Bird really knew how to talk some shit.
Yeah, he did. He actually did.
And so, as it stood, America believed itself to be in an existential race towards atomic weaponry with its two greatest enemies, when in fact, it was only racing against itself.
Wow, that's crazy psychological.
But when it came to competition, General Leslie Groves was determined to win hard and win fast. Now, Groves researched the best ways to build the massive industrial complexes needed to produce fissionable materials and to develop a working mechanism to harness the power of the atom.
Nerd.
Whoa, this is the only time being a nerd is cool.
Oh, yeah.
But Groves' biggest problem at the outset was deciding which research path to take towards a nuclear weapon. At this point, remember, there's like multiple ways. There's the graphite method, there's the heavy water method, there's all kinds of ways that we could get to the bomb.
But the thing is, you got to figure out, but it has to, how do you make a thing that goes explode?
Yeah. But this problem was solved in a way that only America could have done it due to our enormous resources and the fact that the war wasn't anywhere near America. As one man put it, the atomic bomb couldn't be built unless we turned all of America into a factory. And in the end, General Groves did just that by saying, fuck it, let's do them all.
Yeah, and so they just threw every single thing that they had at the project. It became, that's what they were all very interested about. It's like, it was, normally they had to deal with low budget, no parameters. But eventually you get to a point where it's all parameters and they had a exact, whatever amount of money, anything. But also it puts a lot of pressure on people.
Yeah.
When you have to do thing like, whatever you want, do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It reminds me of
Very
what
difficult.
happened with McDonald's and the milkshake
Yeah,
machine.
the
They were
Shamrock.
attempting to get more milkshakes sold quicker, but you know what they did then?
What?
They got a multi-whipper.
Yeah.
And they were able to whip 3 milkshakes at once.
Richard Feynman.
So there you go. Diversify.
Is this a Ray Kroc thing?
No, I fucking hate Ray Kroc.
He was a true American.
No, he was an asshole.
Yeah, he
An
was.
American. True
Yeah.
American.
Now, although the Manhattan Project only employed about a dozen people when it was just some office downtown in 1942, there were 150,000 people working towards an atomic weapon by the time we set off the first bomb during the Trinity test in July of 1945. That's half the population of Cincinnati.
You know, it would be interesting to see their faces when the bombs do go off.
Oh yeah. They were like, hey. I'm really happy it wasn't half the actual population of Cincinnati. Can you imagine if that's just what they did?
Yeah.
They went to Cincinnati and they're like, we're gonna break you up in ones and twos. The ones, you're working on the atomic bomb. Let's go.
I think that's how that chili came about.
But when it came to which scientists were going to be invited to the big show out in the desert, Robert Oppenheimer traveled across the country to personally recruit the people he wanted, a sort of atomic dream team.
Yeah, Magic Johnson,
There you go. Not Isaiah
LeBron
Thomas.
James,
Yeah.
Bugs Bunny.
Well, if you get Isaiah, you don't get MJ.
That's
the
how we
problem. That's the problem. This would have been such a great time to just trip fucking balls and be a spectator. If we could just have our Hunter S. Thompson moment, just watching this shit live.
Oh yeah.
God.
Oh my God, what a nightmarish.
But this begins
But, I don't know, interesting.
This begins the work together. Come on, let's work together.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah. In the movie, this part is going to be like a montage with like a music, like a lot of Oppenheimer on trains.
Yeah, him
and song
driving back and forth in a big jalopy and like picking up like Niels Bohr, who's like doing the weird. He was like, "Fancy seeing you here, fella. You want to come along with me to my Manhattan trip?" And he's just like, "You got it there, fella." You know, he picks him up.
Well, I'm just happy they're going to make it really cute.
Yeah. Well, initially, Oppenheimer estimated that he would need 50 scientists and 50 technicians to head up 4 divisions: theoretical, experimental, chemical, and ordnance.
What the fuck is ordnance?
It's how to get it down.
It's the bomb itself.
Yeah.
But Groves said, "Fuck you, Oppenheimer.
Whoa.
That's not enough. Triple the number you think you need and go get them."
Get any scientist that's not tied down.
Yeah.
Well, you have to take them out of my basement then.
Now, most scientists were convinced to come work on the Manhattan Project off the assumption that the Nazis were getting close to the bomb.
Right.
But when a scientist hesitated in getting involved in war at all,
Oh, yeah.
Oppenheimer made sure to share the utopian vision that the atomic bomb would actually end war forever.
Do you imagine how incredible it would be if we could teach bombs how to dance?
It'd be nice. You know, again, it's a little bit correct.
Yeah.
I wish a bomb could kiss.
Yeah.
And then they'll teach everybody how to love instead of die.
I do love that. I do love now. Also, it's Pride Month, so they are more open-minded this month when they explode.
Yeah, they are. And there hasn't been a war since 1945.
No.
Not a nuclear one.
No.
Not a
There's been
nuclear one.
skirmishes and conflicts.
Police actions.
I don't want to fall in one of those Viet Cong traps, man. I love that. I've been touring that museum. It's been an 8-hour tour. I've been working through it on YouTube.
God, it's nice.
Fucking crazy, bro.
What?
You don't want to fall in them traps, bro.
Yeah. I don't want to go in no tiger cage.
No.
They
You
got
Going
the
on
tiger
virtual
cages, yeah?
museum tours at
Yeah,
home?
because I want to go visit it
I'm
because
proud
it's
of him for
absolutely
doing
I guess
incredible.
that's true. I guess
It's
that's true.
absolutely incredible.
Well,
Where is it?
It's in Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's the Vietnam. It's the
That's
Vietnamese.
crazy.
It's the Viet Cong.
See,
What
I
they
actually-
did for war, and you can do a lot with a nail in the wood.
oh, you really can. You really can. I follow a lot of Vietnamese, like, street food vendors.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, that's good too. That's real nice.
Now, while Oppenheimer was recruiting scientists, Leslie Groves was building the infrastructure. In the end, Groves oversaw the construction of 3 secret towns built almost from scratch, and he did it all in 2 months.
Jeez.
Now, by design, these towns needed to be isolated, and that went double for the town that was going to be responsible for actually constructing and testing the bomb itself.
But you know what's interesting is that's against all of the actual, that's against the sense of the time. Because they were all like, no, we need these next to big cities because that's how you get all the shit that we need for the experimentations.
Not a good
but then
idea.
They're all like, oh, so we're going to test this atomic bomb right outside of Chicago?
Yeah.
You know, like that's
And
literally
they
like,
paint a huge target on Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
basically.
Well, for the test site, they needed a place with good transportation. In order to get all that shit there, they needed a local labor force, and they needed a moderate climate for year-round construction and outdoor experimentation. Most importantly, though, Groves made sure, to your point, Henry, that it was an isolated site so nearby communities wouldn't be adversely affected by any unforeseen results.
Ooh.
I mean, try explaining nuclear radiation sickness to a fucking congressman in 1942.
No,
Like,
they'd
how do
be
you do
like,
it?
what do you mean? They're being pussies? Their cells are being pussies.
I mean, Jim Inhofe just brought a snowball into the White House, into the Capitol there,
chamber?
Yeah.
a couple of years back.
No. We can't compare anything now because they used to have like thoughts and shame and pride
I
back
don't
in the
know.
day.
Had dignity.
Yeah,
Maybe.
dignity, yeah.
Some
Maybe.
did. Not
Some
all.
did.
I wouldn't say Strom Thurmond had a lot of dignity.
No,
No, you're right.
All right.
Yeah. Well, therefore, Groves chose the site of a former boys' prep school in Jemez, New Mexico,
Oh.
about 40 miles northwest of Santa Fe, and he rechristened it as Los Alamos.
Well, that was also J. Robert Oppenheimer's old stomping grounds.
Well, he loved the desert.
He loved the desert and he loved riding. He loved going out and be like, you wouldn't believe just how groovy a cactus can be.
I believe
They're my
that.
friends.
Yeah.
But he loved this area of the world and he knew the Los Alamos area.
Mhm.
And he was like, because that was one of his, I mean, again, it's the things you learn about him were one of his big issues when they first found a spot where he's like, you can barely see the beautiful mountain ranges from here.
Mhm.
And how will
Well,
we
that's
be
not the point.
inspired? Yeah, but they were like, but eventually there was like one of the pluses of the new area when they got to Los Alamos where he's like, and you can see the beautiful colors.
Isn't
green,
that? Yeah.
red,
Nice.
Yeah. It can
orange.
be
That's
a beautiful place.
Sure, why not?
Blue is the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Clouds are white.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
The land of enchantment.
Some cactuses actually like to lie down.
It's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game. That's what comedy is.
It really is. That's true. I saw someone adopt a cactus.
Huh.
It's on Instagram.
Wow. It has to be real.
It is. Some cactuses actually do like to lay down.
Los Alamos.
We're just going to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Los Alamos was only one of the Manhattan Project's 3 so-called secret cities. And even those 3, those weren't the only Manhattan Project sites. Besides Los Alamos, codenamed Site Y, the other...
Why? Because we gotta.
I guess so.
No, Y. Like the letter. Not why. It's not like Cafe
I
Wa.
didn't say it. Why are you looking at me? I figured it was fucking Y.
I was making
W-H-Y.
what would be
That's
called
not the Joker.
I was doing a homonym-based joke.
Yes.
Right. Well, the other 2 main sites were in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and Hanford, Washington, while smaller sites were located in 13 other cities across the United States. Also had a couple in Canada and 1 in England. Now, Los Alamos alone would start with a population of about 3,500 in a town that already included a school, a laundry, libraries, a movie theater,
Wow.
bachelor apartments,
Yep.
barbers.
Because they didn't want them all they separated the men and the women except for the ones that were married.
Yeah, they have barbers, 2 restaurants, a vet, and a bar.
Wow.
And this was all there when they showed up. Although they did also vastly underestimate the resources they would need. It was not fun to live there for the first few months.
They were living pretty fucking rough.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because then Robert Oppenheimer promised all of them, I will definitely make a restaurant that you can all go on dates with your wives to. And it's
Yes.
true. Where they literally made a cafe for the single men. And then they made a take your other scientist's wife on a date place within Los Alamos.
I also watched a recent history on TGI Fridays, the first one to do the horseshoe around the bar so people would mingle as they go to their seats.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, by the time the bomb
Honestly,
dropped...
it is interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah. Well, by the time the bomb dropped in 1945, Los Alamos, the population would have doubled to 8,000.
Okay.
And a couple years later, it was up to 10,000 because work did not stop on atomic research after Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
And these people were just asexually multiplying, right? Because of all the chemicals that were in the air.
yeah, well,
Yeah, they were
actually-
like gremlins.
Yeah,
it was a massive issue because people were having babies. People were fucking and having babies, and it was like at some point Leslie Groves had to cut it all off. He was like, "There's too many fucking babies being born in the middle of my atomic bomb project."
You know, he has a point.
Yes.
But the thing about the atomic bomb is that even without it, the Allies were already inflicting airborne destruction in Germany on a never-before-seen scale with bombing campaigns like the evocatively titled Operation Gomorrah.
Not good
Oh, my goodness.
because we know that story.
Yep.
Turn it to salt.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. With Gomorrah, the Allies used incendiary bombs to reduce the industrial capacity of Germany's war machine, and they started with the city of Hamburg. See, as opposed to simple explosives, most incendiary bombs in World War II contained small sticks of white phosphorus called bomblets.
Cute.
Oh.
They
little
scattered themselves around the target at a high altitude in advance of the actual explosive bomb.
Whoa, that's fun and cute. They're the bombs, little helpers.
Yeah.
It is the home of the hamburger.
And once the big
I think
bomb...
it was in St. Louis.
No, it's Hamburg, Germany. That's where the hamburger was created.
Interesting. Well, once the big...
I think it was actually up in like Rhode Island.
It's
Sure.
Yeah. Well, once the big bomb hit the ground, it would ignite these bomblets,
Cute.
starting fires so hot that they could melt metal and rock.
Metal, cool.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
sweet.
crazy.
Those fires would then spread indiscriminately to the rest of the city, where they would meet fires caused by other incendiary bombs.
Oh, it's like you're meeting all of their friends.
It's a hell of a day to be a fire.
This would create firestorms so hot that the pilots dropping the bombs from thousands of feet above, they were nearly suffocated by the heat.
Wow.
But that was, of course, nothing compared to what was happening on the ground.
Yeah, there was it was more like a fire festival.
Weird guy.
Now, the firebombing of Dresden is the most infamous of these operations due to the Kurt Vonnegut novel Slaughterhouse-Five.
Oh, yeah.
But the nighttime British firebombing of Hamburg in 1943, which killed 45,000 45,000 civilians,
Woo-wee.
mostly old people, women, and children. That was just as bad.
Why were you letting me talk about how cute all the bomblets were? And how that was a cute thing to do. And then how about the meet cute with the flames and stuff? Why didn't you say
kinda
that?
cute.
Why didn't you stop at them?
They did name it something like cute. Anytime you have a sickle at the end of it, or ickle, it's like, it's kind of cute.
It's a bomblet.
It's bomblet.
Yeah.
It's fun.
You just let me do that.
Yeah, 45,000 innocent people.
And it's about to get a
died.
lot worse. According to accounts in the making of the atomic bomb by Richard Rhodes, people would be cooked in pools of their own melted fat as the heat turned sealed shelters into kilns, and those left on the streets became small, blackened bundles.
There was one dude who was like, I kind of like the way I taste. I kind of like the way I taste.
This is not cute at all. This is the opposite of
He's
cute.
a puddle of his own fat.
And he's eating his own fat.
Yeah, I kind of like the way. Yeah, do we have any pretzels?
All I know is you can't get a scoop of my liquid. You get high as hell.
Well, if you weren't burned or melted, you'd die either from the hurricane force winds the firestorms created,
Okay.
or you'd asphyxiate because the fire would suck up all the oxygen from the air. Sometimes the firestorms would create atmospheric conditions that would cause brains to burst out of people's temples
Oh, no.
or cause their innards to burst out from underneath their ribs.
Oh,
their entire
man.
rib cage.
Popcorn.
You
yes,
never
would
want your last
empty
word.
out.
You never want your last words to be like, "Well, I needed that."
It's not cute. You know,
No, it's not. But you did make it cute.
why did we need the other bombs? It sounds like these bombs are doing a really good job of being like naughty.
Yeah,
They're
do
being
better.
bad.
Yeah,
Always do
being
better.
real bad. Yeah, and of course, all of this would pale in comparison to the firebombing of Tokyo that would happen, I think, a year or two later. But while this does prove that the firebombing of cities, whether it was Hamburg, London, or Tokyo, it proves they were always horrific.
Oh, yeah.
It also showed that the men in charge during World War II had no issue bombing civilians.
No.
After all, when it was all said and done, 38 million civilians died during World War II, which was incredibly 2.5 times the number of military personnel killed. And 38 million is a conservative estimate.
You could
And
see
for
in
fucking what? Really? I mean, obviously, to fight
This
for
was
the
the-
Nazis, but like,
But no,
stupid
but-
human history.
But why did the Nazis do it in the first place?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, why did the Japanese do it in the first
fucking
place?
point.
it's very it's humbling because you think about like how much destruction was caused in such a short period of time and what they had to kind of scramble to do and how the Manhattan, right? It's so crazy. This whole story is just this time period.
Yeah.
They came out of this all fucked up. Like now we kind of know about like
Yeah.
trauma and PTSD. You think about these guys were fighting in the just war, like the quote unquote good war.
Yeah.
And
Greatest
they came out of it.
generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, 38 million, that's what, about a tenth of the population of the United States?
Yeah, I guess they could have done it in Alan Parsons, Nevada, the Alan Parsons
But
Project.
so, I mean, which also very controversial for a lot of people. Just as controversial as the Manhattan Project.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we're talking about numbers, it only made sense when it came to the Manhattan Project that security was going to be a top concern due to just how many people were involved.
I could see that.
Interestingly, some of the security practices that Groves adopted during the Manhattan Project still persist to this day, and the project's secret budget and lack of legislative oversight made it America's first large-scale black budget program.
Never mind, most of it was taken over by that group, the S1 committee, that was just like FDR just kind of said, all right, you're in charge of this thing. You're going to go and do this. And it was just a group of guys that you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were all just a bunch of famous guys within the government. They were super, super powerful. And they didn't have to answer to anybody but themselves.
Yeah. Not surprisingly, many of the people Groves recruited went on to have extensive careers in the CIA.
There's a lot of this is why to me this subject is extremely important to know for people that are into stuff that last podcast also covers, where you're like, all of this information about the Manhattan Project helps feed my conspiracy theory mind as well, because you start to kind of see how they run something of this size and how it's, which you'll find impossible to keep secret.
Impossible.
Because the entire world was also doing the same thing at the same time. And the Manhattan Project had 150,000 participants within it. So everybody knew what was going on. They talked about the little town.
Not everybody. More open is like more of an open secret in certain areas of the country.
Los Alamos, the people, when they arrived, right, the whole town was like, yeah, they're building some kind of atomic bomb. Like, they literally
Right.
knew
Well,
something
they
was
didn't
going
know
on.
atomic bomb.
But
They
they-
knew building some kind of a weapon.
They did meet a man in a pork pie hat with a cigarette in his mouth who was like, hello, my name is Mr. Johnson. Yes, we're doing some
Yeah.
experiments here. And we were like, no, you're super famous nuclear scientist J. Robert Oppenheimer.
You're also greatly overestimating the reach of a famous scientist.
Well, the kids, they talked about this, but there was 2 kids that were like, he was famous.
Yeah.
He was on newspaper. He was like, people knew about this guy. It was just different.
I'm also greatly underestimating how smart people used to be and how much they used to read.
They used to read stuff.
Yeah.
And they knew when he showed up,
Yes.
he was like a celebrity. So it's like, they're doing something secret.
Something. Yeah, and all of a sudden, all these
Sounds like a fucking great day to be a kid with a couple of friends, get on your bicycles.
It's the
go
real
sniff
Stranger
around.
Things.
Absolutely. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, all of a sudden, all these fucking European dudes are just showing up in these
Trippy.
small towns in New Mexico.
the wonderful colors of the New Mexican backgrounds.
Yeah. And then, of course, you get those new restaurants. It must be a good day to be in Los Alamos.
There was this place called the Owl Cafe that made a thing called the Atomic Burger that was just outside of town that they used to all go eat. It was a green chili burger that they all go
Oh,
root
I
around.
love green
I'm-
chilies.
you know-
I love green chili
Me
burgers.
too, I do.
I don't need my spice on my burgers.
I
I
How
just
do
like
they,
green.
what do
We
they
should
call me?
get 'em in.
Gas, man. How do they know I have gas? Soup of the day.
Well, that's the thing about these security measures. That's the thing about all of the CIA shit, all of the black budget shit. The security measures in no way worked. The Soviets had no less than 2 active spies within the inner circle of scientists, the toppest of top secret. And that wasn't even to mention all the other little spies peppered throughout.
Because remember, at the time, they were our allies. So there were a lot of people. The spies, quote unquote, spies truly involved here were some of Oppenheimer's students who he brought in to be like assistants and people who'd work on various experiments. At the time, they had sort of a naive, American-centric communist idea that, like, no, we need to share this information with our allies. It's like they're trying to help this humanitarian effort. We should be going and helping them fight the Nazis right now, blah, blah, blah. But it shows with the CIA. I was watching a great interview with the CIA guy who talks about, like, the quote unquote human tactics that you have to do in order to flip people to give you information. And what they do is very human things. This guy, this one guy was talking about how he was trying to get information from some country. It sounded like it was Iran or something. And he became friends with this guy that was working on some military project. And they started talking. And at some point he floated. He's like, you could always come to America and, we could hook you up. And he was like, no, I'm not right. But then the CIA dude remained actual friends with this guy for 10 years, just waiting for the day when his shithead boss, if very human, the guy got sick of his boss. And he's like, I'm sick of doing this. And he's just like, I got a great way to help you. You just come with me. And so he's like, I'm helping you. Now it's this kind of thing. It's like what the cops say about, like, let me help you, which is like never real.
Yep.
And so these guys got flipped as little spies off of their just straight up, naivete. They looked at him being like, they're like, they played on these things. And we learned from the KGB and the KGB learned from us. And we created a fun espionage group family.
Yeah.
Espionage indeed. And of course, when it comes to the Middle East, when you text them something very funny, they text back, hello. HALOL. Hello.
He hasn't heard a single thing in minutes. He's just like, all right, hello, it's like,
Hello.
all right, they've been
Yeah.
looking, or they're
Yeah.
talking, they're looking at me. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
You just heard the word Iran and you stopped
No,
thinking.
I know. I remember everything he said. It's like literally, the man wanted to work with us. He got sick of his boss, and then he came over here and worked with us. That's how it works.
Sure. Well, the worst part about all of these spies, like all these guys working for the Soviet Union, feeding information to the Soviet Union, this was what McCarthy and all the rest of those assholes used when they were like, even one communist in the State Department is one too many. Shit like that. Because
His buddy
it had happened. Like this one dude, Carl
it was
Fuchs.
happening. It was presently happening.
Well, one dude, Carl Fuchs, like, McCarthy would say, like, 8 years ago, Carl Fuchs fed information to the Soviets and they got the bomb 2 years before they should have. It's all because it happened. But, of course, America, we're known for overcorrecting.
That's a good term.
Kinda,
So that was the 20-year war that we just did in the Middle East?
Overcorrecting.
Yeah, okay.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But Groves did his best to keep things secure. As far as getting into Los Alamos or any of these 3 secret cities went, each one was perimetered by barbed wire. Almost no one had a telephone, and everyone had badges and driver's licenses with ID numbers, but no names.
It was a white badge.
Yeah.
Anybody with a white badge was allowed, because Oppenheimer was also breaking a bunch of rules, saying like,
all the scientists were.
the only way for this to work is we need to have a weekly meeting where everybody who's working on everything in this base comes together and we talk about it. And Groves was like, no.
Yeah.
Because it's literally why we do things covertly the way we do them.
Well, it's about
we separate.
Compartmentalization.
Sure, makes
but
sense.
Oppenheimer was like, do you want this done now? Or do you want this done 5 years from now?
Yeah.
And so that's what they did. They basically said, okay, fuck the rules for now. But again, it would all deeply punish Oppenheimer in the future.
Oh, yeah. No. And everyone at Los Alamos, they all had the same address, P.O. Box 1663 in Santa Fe. And interestingly, anyone born in Los Alamos during the Manhattan Project can prove it, because even birth certificates issued from that location at that period of time listed P.O. Box 1663 as the address.
So funny.
Yeah.
You could just mail shit to the Manhattan Project. I guess you have to.
Yeah.
I guess so. I'd mail them with some erotic magazines, fluppers. That's always a fan. Dolphin themed.
They definitely need to be jerked off. Scientists are
They
horny.
do.
Yeah.
Oh my God, some of the horniest.
Mhm.
Because they have the egos of an actor, the face of a scientist, and then the desire of just some prisoner.
They are very horny.
They are horny.
There was a lot of honey, a lot of beavers getting snacked on.
Yeah, yes, indeed.
Now, when it came to compartmentalization of knowledge, Leslie Groves was the only person on Earth who had total knowledge of the whole thing. He controlled the pace, the priorities, and the direction of everything major.
Wow.
In regards to secrecy, the top priority was to keep knowledge from, in order of importance, the Germans, the Japanese, and the Russians, because just about everyone in the military brass had pegged the Russians as our next big bad just as soon as World War II was over.
Yes, it was. Everybody knew that the Russians were the next enemy, except for all of the people that found this literature in college at the time period, which is what Oppenheimer says later on when they are grilling him, when he's basically saying, it didn't seem so serious before the war. It was just ideas, and we were talking. And I actually never thought about a world controlled by Russia. I just thought we could learn from all of these philosophies. I thought we could learn.
You are guilty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As soon as you're not because he wouldn't give up other names. And then also it was a man by the name of Chevalier that was a French professor. It was Oppenheimer's best friend, and he was a card-carrying communist. And he did a thing where Oppenheimer was trying to keep everybody separate, right? Because he's like, listen, I'm already getting enough heat here. Everybody considers me a communist, and it's just because I got thin tie on at this point. And and I went to a couple meetings back in the day. But this guy comes up to dinner and basically says, you should sell all of your information to Russia, not even understanding that everything's wired for sound. And so this little offhanded remark, and both his wife, Kitty, and Oppenheimer was like, no, that's treason. We're not going to do that. But because the question was even asked, he was immediately fucked, and everything was everything was recorded.
Yeah.
Rise from your grave.
Well, Groves also wanted to keep knowledge of the project away from other nations so that the U.S. would come out of the war with as strong of a position as possible. The only other people who knew we were doing this were the British. But Groves also wanted to keep the knowledge of the project from Congress and, to a certain extent, the president, so none of them would or even could interfere. Basically, when it came to the Manhattan Project, FDR went with the policy of set it and forget it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, why not? I mean, that's what you do to him. You set him and forget him. There you go. He's the Ron Popeil of presidents.
No president spared.
Not at all.
But perhaps the most consequential of Leslie Groves' security directives, which would heavily influence later decisions on how the bomb was dropped, he insisted that the bomb be a surprise, thus gaining the maximum psychological effect.
May I just say one thing? Can we put a smiley face on the bomb? Or maybe we could put a little tail on it.
I mean,
Hi
it was
there.
Hi there. Hey there. Whoa there.
It was definitely called Fat Man and Little Boy.
Yeah.
I thought it was it Little Boy?
Yeah. Little Boy, yeah.
Little Boy. That's...
They were named after characters in the Maltese Falcon. Fat Man, Little Boy, and Thin Man.
I love when they let that dog on the back of that falcon.
You can't. People say I was made in the lab. Kissel was made by God.
Thank you.
You know what's interesting? The dog in Neverending Story, isn't he a bit of a Maltese Falcon?
He is.
He's a flying Maltese.
He is a massive Maltese.
I feel the shame. I feel
Yes.
ashamed for the audience.
Also, the fucking story did end.
Yes.
So,
Oh, yeah.
never-ending story. Well, what are these credits then?
No, it's about the idea of imaginations is the
that
ending
movie made me
story
too
is
sad.
it is a very sad movie, but the never ending story is the story that we all share in the world of imagination.
Yes.
We did get hit hard with some sad-ass movie, but
Oh,
it was
yeah.
good for us.
Yeah.
Now the kids just have the recession and
Yep. And then they got that movie Cars, which is all about gas
Yeah.
prices.
Yeah.
unbelievable.
The hopelessness of having no future.
Yeah,
That
and
was
how
what
cars
all
can't
of the
reproduce.
All of the shows were about that.
But all the secrecy and military protocol clashed with some of the scientists who had a hard time operating even within the rules of the academic sector. And some of them treated security so casually that they are lucky they did not get shot before the whole thing was said and done.
Wow.
What this teaches me is, again, that conspiracies work if they are small. Like you must, conspiracy happens in choke points of information that then just shatters everything. You basically create a shield against any sort of objective look at the information inside of the conspiracy by keeping it between three people, right?
Yeah.
You make it a small deal. Like, JFK, the Secret Service fighting over his body when he's leaving. The conspiracy was happening in that moment.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's when it moved on.
Cover-ups happen very fast.
Very
Well, yeah,
fast.
the Secret Service saying like, do not let anyone examine this body because then they will find out we accidentally killed him.
And then you look at MK Ultra, which is also a sort of another size of this, right? This size of quote unquote conspiracy. But again, everybody knew that we were doing it. But the way that they hid that was instead of doing it out loud like the Manhattan Project did, they just did it real quiet and just gave money everywhere. And just if you touched any of that MK Ultra money, you're now MK Ultra.
Yeah. Well, for an example of a scientist not taking security seriously, physicist Richard Feynman once found a hole in the security fence surrounding Los Alamos.
He was a trickster.
Yeah, he found a hole in the security fence. He's out for a stroll. Oh, look, there's a hole. So
There's a hole.
So just for fun, he checked out of the base, snuck back in through the hole, and checked out again.
Guys, you wouldn't believe what I was been doing. I was walking and I found a hole. And then I walked
Richard
back.
Feynman?
And then
That's him?
I went in through the hole. I'm going to go back out through the hole.
This is Richard Feynman. Complex ideas, simple explanations.
Yes.
Simplify. He didn't go back in the hole. He got out of the hole.
You don't know what I did in that hole.
No, he went back through the gate and he checked out again and he kept just going around and around in a circle until someone said, "Hey, wait a minute, Richard."
I don't want to tell you, but this is what I call mousing around.
Have you seen any Richard Feynman? I should send you him explaining fire. You would like Richard
Sure.
Feynman.
Yeah.
Because that's what he does. He entertains us boobs.
Mhm.
Nice. All
Yeah.
right, I'll take it.
But he was completely ignoring the fact that a paranoid, trigger-happy soldier could have very well shot him in the head, thinking that he was a foreign saboteur.
These scientists are getting too casual.
Man, I'm mousing around.
Now you're fucking dead mousing around. Like the DJ.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, Enrico Fermi's nuclear pile on the squash court in Chicago, that had been a proof of concept to show that a nuclear weapon was possible before everyone went to the trouble of building the towns and the factories and the laboratories.
Okay.
But what Fermi built on the squash court was nothing compared to what the Manhattan Project constructed in the more barren parts of Washington state at Hanford Site, codenamed Site W.
Ooh.
Come on.
I know.
Yeah.
I
Can
like
we get
it.
something fun?
Yeah. The death room.
Something great.
Yeah.
Y and
Dr.
W.
Mr. Shit Fucks Pancake Fuck.
There we go. Something fun.
Well, there at Site W in Hanford, Washington, almost 50,000 people, mostly brought up from the South, were hired by the DuPont company to build the site. Although very few of them knew what they were actually building. Some thought it was a sandpaper factory.
Yep. That sounds like a real answer.
Yeah. Well, they said
sandpaper.
a sandpaper factory. Others who had to be fucking absolute morons thought they were building FDR's Winter Palace.
Sounds like some of them have been educating themselves on YouTube.
Wow.
In reality, though, Hanford Site was a part of General Grove's scattershot strategy. See, the Hanford Site in Washington was charged with processing plutonium, just in case plutonium was the element needed to use a bomb. The site in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, meanwhile, was processing uranium for the same reason. Los Alamos, meanwhile, was the central site. It was tasked with constructing a practical bomb that could be dropped from an airplane to destroy a German or Japanese city should the need arise.
That's the key, is being able to be dropped from an airplane, because the way they first kind of posited the atomic bomb is that we'll put it in a ship and we'll float a ship as close to the fucking the edge of the land, like where as possible, and then set it off. But apparently that'd be like bad.
That'd be bad
because you make a big like tsunami. It's like there's like a lot of issues.
Well, you're gonna wake up Godzilla.
Oh yeah.
Oh, speaking of which,
And he's gonna be like, "Let me sleep. I'm snoozing here."
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, I got one word for you: Fukushima. Remember how much radiation that introduced into the ocean that we're still fucking dealing with?
That's why the fish is tasting so good these days.
I like a little radiation with my tuna.
Sure.
Now, in Los Alamos, the atomic bomb was nicknamed the Gadget, probably because talking about the bomb day and night would have been both a security risk and a bit of a bummer.
It's definitely a security risk because they were really getting kind of like loose with it.
Yeah. Well, to the point of it being a bomber, the scientists working on the bomb knew exactly what sort of effects it would have. There's no ignorance to be pleaded here.
Okay.
Besides producing an explosion that would vaporize anyone caught in the blast, scientists guessed that any person within 1,000 yards of the explosion point would suffer severe psychological effects. And not like super cool Incredible Hulk effects either.
No, but honestly, I wouldn't like a bunch of Incredible Hulks walking around either.
No, we're talking.
I mean, it would be fun if you were the Hulk, but also very difficult.
But if everyone was the Hulk?
It is a curse,
Yeah, it's very much a curse. Originally the Hulk would come out at night.
What's the sound of one hand not happy? There it is. That's the sound when Marcus talks about comic books that I'm hearing.
It's a very simple origin story.
Yeah.
Now, we're not talking Incredible Hulk shit. We're talking melted innards. We're talking bodies decomposing from the inside out before the affected victim even dies.
Kind of wish I died first.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
They also knew that the area would remain highly radioactive after the initial blast, slowly and silently killing anyone who just happened to wander into the area.
The other countries working on the atomic bomb never talked about radiation sickness.
Yeah.
And this was one of our most closely held secrets.
Yeah, we knew
is
it.
the fact that this thing is going to make whatever land is underneath this thing uninhabitable for like 100 years.
Yeah,
That's great.
Depending on which type you use,
Yes.
which element you use. Certain elements have longer half-lives. That's the whole point of Doctor Strangelove. Gadolfonium G.
But then the idea of how it explodes, like, because that's the tricky part, which is in order to make it so that we don't have to literally make sure no human lives here again, it has to explode above the site and not on the site.
Well, now they poison our water with a bunch of other stuff, too.
Yeah.
Isn't that exciting?
Well, while the plutonium produced at Hanford would be used in the first atomic test, the uranium used in the first atomic bomb was produced, you're going to like this one, Ben, Site X.
Yeah, you see, that's cool.
Yeah, but it's still just a letter.
Yeah, but it's still Site X.
Site X.
Yeah, I know. X is
they
a
put
cool,
in some ramps,
X
too.
is a cool letter.
I was in Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
They had a 5-man team inventing me like, what if a skate was in one line? And make it like a sword. It's a roller sword.
A roller blade.
No, that's dumb.
No,
a roller knife.
There we go.
Well, at Site X, 4 separate methods of producing uranium-235 were being researched simultaneously, each one costing hundreds of millions of dollars. The most effective process, however, involved a contraption called a calutron, which required a 44-acre, mile-long, 4-story high plant that required hundreds of miles of airtight piping all welded together just to make it work.
Wow, I think that was actually just put into the new omnibus bill. That's a little political humor. That was just put into the debt ceiling bill.
Make the house bigger.
Well, interestingly, when these calutrons were first built at UC Berkeley, they were only allowed to be used by men with PhDs. But with the war on...
Pretty hot dicks.
Physically warm penises.
Yeah.
But with the war on, the calutrons in Oak Ridge were operated almost entirely by young women right out of the Tennessee school system. And they did just fine.
Rosie the Riveter?
You just tell them how to do it.
Yeah. Really, the biggest risk with the
You don't
calutron...
mansplain that.
You just go there.
You
Listen,
mansplained the bomb to me.
listen, little lady. All you got to do is sit in your precious little chair, all right? Make sure the atoms go zip, zap, zip, zoop. All right, I'll see you later.
See you
all right?
later.
Get out of here. Nice bottom.
Whoa. Because it was the 40s.
It was.
Well, really, the biggest risk with the Calutron was that it involved huge magnets that were so strong that they would smash the insides of your watches if you got too close.
Ooh.
This, of course, resulted in accidents. On the worst end of it, a guy walked into the room containing an active magnet while carrying a big steel plate. Like he's fucking
Where the fuck did he get that?
This fucking Roger Rabbit walks into the room.
left this outside in the hall. Why are you laughing it outside? This is the lab.
Yeah, the magnet, of course, immediately caught the plate in such a way that the guy carrying it got violently pulled across the floor and got pinned to the magnet.
It's a fucking cartoon.
That sucks, dude.
And everyone else is like, turn off the goddamn magnet! Turn off the magnet! And then quite coldly and somewhat cinematically, the scientist in charge said that the war was killing 300 people per hour. And if I shut down that magnet, it's going to take days to restabilize it. So you weigh the lives of thousands of people versus that one man. And besides, he looked over, he's like, the guy's fine.
Yeah, and he's going,
Look at him.
help! Like I'm on a refrigerator.
Yeah. Sounds like that guy was mousing around.
The scientist said, look, he's just stuck. Get some fucking 2x4s and pry him off.
What a dork.
And tell him not
What
to
a
be
dork.
such a fucking idiot next time.
I could definitely see this being some comedian's grandfather.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Now, amusing incidents aside, it was obvious that the Americans were fucking killing it with the Manhattan Project, and we were the only ally doing so. The British had their own attempt going with Project Tube Alloy.
So dumb.
Yeah.
Bad name.
Tube
Bad name.
Alloy.
It's a bad name.
Bad name.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
But it was having a hard time getting it off the ground due to the constant German bombing. Therefore, European scientists were getting funneled over to America to work on the Manhattan Project.
Yeah.
Although none had quite as big of an adventure getting here than famed Danish physicist Niels Bohr, creator of the atomic model we still use today.
Oh.
am a bit of a difficult man.
Yes, indeed.
See, Bohr was Jewish, and when the Nazis invaded Denmark, he was one of 8,000 Jews to be smuggled out of the country by the Danish underground.
Cool.
Bohr ended up in Stockholm, unaware that the Gestapo had ordered Bohr in particular to be seized at all costs. Bohr, however, was not a man known for his discretion, nor his common sense.
No, he's a scientist.
In fact, it was a small miracle that Niels Bohr even survived childhood, much less Europe during World War II.
His brain was for thinking, not for doing stuff.
You could say the same about all of us, couldn't you?
Yep.
Now, in Stockholm, Niels Bohr was unwilling or unable, really, to lie low. And things were made even worse by the fact that Niels Bohr was easily recognized because his head was abnormly large.
I
Big
love
head.
history.
That's why he's smart.
I love history, man, because it is. He just had too big of a head to not be found.
I believe it, man.
I actually heard Bohr's head is really good if you slice it thin.
Well, indeed, I actually think they monopolized the entire meat industry in many parts of this country, and I think it's a substandard meat product.
We've already got into this in side stories. Please
But
don't.
you agree with me, Marcus.
That Bohr's
Bohr's head
head
is average at best.
Oh, yeah, I do agree with you there. Yeah.
I know.
I wish I could find a place where I could get sliced ham that wasn't Bohr's head.
I don't know
wish
why the
either
fuck
one of
we
you
have to
knew a
move.
single thing.
We have to move on.
But yeah, about a single thing that matters, because that is both incorrect.
Yeah. Well, Bohr was also incapable of shutting his mouth or remembering that he was actually in hiding. For example, whenever the phone in his Stockholm hideout rang,
Yeah.
he would lunge for the receiver before anyone could answer it and say,
Yeah, this is Bohr. Here's Bohr, famous hidden scientist. Yeah, I'm in Stockholm.
And so, after only a few days, the Swedes knew that if Bohr stayed in Stockholm, he'd either be captured or killed by Nazis before the week was out.
Yeah.
So they arranged for Bohr to be sent to England via a stripped-down fighter plane called a Mosquito. Now, operations like this take a lot of instruction, especially for a civilian, but Bohr just yapped and yapped through all the instructions that were supposed to help him survive.
I just feel that there are many ways that a trombone can be played with the nose. No, I am a scientist. Look at me. Everybody listen.
I like this guy.
And the operation became even more dangerous when it was discovered that they didn't have a helmet that was big enough to fit him.
It's crazy.
That is funny.
Think about that. That's how big your head is.
Yeah.
Wow.
But because Bohr didn't listen, he didn't know that when the mosquito reached altitude, he was supposed to use an oxygen mask.
Oh.
Therefore, in mid-babble, while they were going up in the air, Bohr very suddenly passed out.
sometimes feel that metal barrel is too
You know what? That's a great way to fly.
Yeah, and
Fall asleep, pass out.
the British crew thought they'd accidentally killed one of the most brilliant minds of the century.
So funny.
But when they landed, Bohr suddenly woke up alert and chipper, saying that he just had the most wonderful nap.
It's just nice to take a break.
It is.
Now, Bohr was extremely important to the Allies, but not just because he was brilliant. He'd also been privy to extensive conversations with Werner Heisenberg about nuclear physics. Bohr, of course, though, he had retained nothing because he was a fucking awful listener.
Mm-hmm. But he was like, but I remembered. No, you better be good at it.
I know that. Absolutely.
Well, all Bohr could remember was that he and Heisenberg had talked about uranium fission, and they talked about the morality of researching nuclear reactions during wartime when it was certain that such research could be used to make weapons.
All right,
remember-
get on with it.
Well, Werner Heisenberg went to go talk to him about it and basically said, hey, you should come. The Germans are definitely going to win. You should be working with the Germans. And Neil Bohr was like, I will never work. I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
Right. It's not going to work out.
No.
Yeah. But even so, just based on these conversations, Bohr was convinced that the Nazis were actively working on an atomic bomb. And he thought that this was big fucking news. But he showed up in England and they said,
what everybody.
Uh-huh.
Guess what?
Yes.
What is this big circle thing? You made a whole town?
Well, that's the thing. He showed up in England and they're like, guess what? We're also working on an atomic weapon.
It's
and
called
you're going.
tube alloy.
He said, no. You're going to America and you're going to be working on the Manhattan Project.
Wow, he's going to miss all the full English breakfast that he could have had.
Best breakfast in the fucking world. But the trip to Los Alamos was, of course, another fraught journey.
Oh.
He almost immediately forgot his code name on the train ride to New Mexico. And having forgotten his code name, he immediately began using his real name, introducing himself as physicist Neil Bohr.
Hello, my name is physicist Niels. Fuck.
Strawberries.
No. Hello, name's physicist Niels. No.
They got to give him a name that he'll remember. Something fruit related. What did he like? Shoes?
Cleels. Meals.
There you go. Cleels. You're Cleels now.
And he'd also talk to anyone and everyone about nuclear fission.
Have you heard
Just talk-
about the bomb? Yeah, we're really making good headway.
His absent-mindedness was so chaotic that he kept accidentally escaping the armed guard assigned to keep watch. Eventually, it got so bad that Leslie Groves himself had to travel out to escort Bohr the rest of the way. He pretty much just held onto his collar and said, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you're coming with me now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But perhaps Bohr's greatest treasure was a drawing Heisenberg had done of a Nazi heavy water nuclear reactor. But Bohr and the rest of the scientists, they couldn't conclusively say that this reactor could be used to make a weapon. What they did convince themselves of was the possibility that Germany had learned enough about nuclear energy to produce dirty bombs.
Man, and dirty bombs at this point, too, are almost, I mean, obviously the atomic bomb is the biggest and worst of all of it, but dirty bombs ain't no slouch.
No, you don't want to get messed around with by a dirty bomb.
No.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Well, these bombs, which were mixed with radioactive material, they did not have the destructive power of regular bombs, but they made areas of effect deadly and uninhabitable all the same.
Hey, buddy, what's wrong with you? You're covered in mud. Yeah, dirty bomb.
It's
Dirty
really good. Wow.
That's great.
Really good. But
Was that the one that you were thinking of and then you abandoned, but then you thought to try it?
They've stopped. Their lips have stopped moving, and
A lot of people say I'm like Neil Bohr.
you know what? It's true.
I got a big old fucking head.
Yeah, you do.
I sleep on planes great.
But there's a part of them that thought that the atomic bomb was kind of like, well, at least the first wave of energy wipe everybody out quickly.
Yeah.
And then the radiation sickness will set in. So they actually view it was like, well, at least the atomic bomb, we kill you up top.
It's real nice. We're kind of being nice.
Kind of being nice with it.
Now, there was no evidence for German dirty bombs, but nevertheless, Manhattan Project officials had secret nuclear defense systems installed in quite a few major American cities. They almost deployed teams of soldiers with Geiger counters on D-Day in a scuttle plan called Operation Peppermint.
See, now that's fun.
I like Operation Peppermint.
Operation Peppermint.
Yeah, they shipped out Geiger counters. They included
That's with the Bastard Brigade. It covered that one of the guys in the Bastard Brigade was one of his jobs, so that he had to go and try to check every bomb hole for radiation.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't know that Mo Berg tried to kill Werner Heisenberg.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that next episode. Yeah. But of course, once we started thinking that maybe the Germans might use dirty bomb tactics, we started thinking about how we could do something along the same lines.
Yeah.
Maybe. And of course, that deadened us even further as to what we could be capable of unleashing upon civilians.
Okay.
At one point, Oppenheimer and Enrico Fermi enthusiastically discussed using the isotope strontium-90 to poison Germany's food and water supplies in a preemptive strike. Although Oppenheimer wrote that it wouldn't be worth it unless they could poison at least 500,000 people.
This was a real plan. They really.
It was more of an. They later said that it was an academic exercise, but
it was in the Manhattan Project. Everything was an academic exercise. It was extremely serious.
Yes.
All they got to do is get Monsanto on the case, and they'll be poisoned for sure.
Monsanto was involved in the Manhattan Project.
That's why me and Neil Young don't like him.
I get it.
Well, these fears were, of course, only made worse by Nazi blustering. Nazi propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels, always the troublemaker, he announced that Germany would soon unleash a revolutionary uranium torpedo on the Allies.
We will spread that uranium torpedo all over the chest of the Allies.
Oh, yes, indeed.
And as we know, Germany was nowhere close to such a weapon, but the Allies didn't know that. They were on track to produce an atomic bomb by 1945. They'd started work on it in 1942.
That's crazy.
Yes, but they were working on the assumption that the Nazis had been on a steady track of production since 1939. So they're shitting themselves. Any day now, they're going to have the weapon.
Right.
Now, as Leslie Groves saw it, part of his job in constructing the bomb was to also actively prevent Germany from getting the bomb.
Okay.
So he and his deputies came up with a plan to deploy their own intelligence units made up of scientists and soldiers who could decipher documents and interrogate captured scientists. These guys were going behind enemy lines.
Yeah,
What
it's
we'll
a crazy
do is
story.
we will hide all of the secrets in hot sauce. There's no way the German can handle the hot sauce.
I think it's important we'll put it inside this case of salt and pepper. They'll never see it.
Well, the Germans have a little bit of salt and
It's
pepper.
a little bit.
A little
A little
bit.
bit,
They don't
yeah.
want the hot sauce.
They don't.
No. And we'll get more.
Oh no, there's a general brought hot sauce. I actually have it right now from a buddy of mine who made it and sent it to the studio. It's like a nice light. It's kind of a Bavarian hot sauce. It's very tasty. It's a little bit of a medium range.
Do they
hot
have it in the
sauce. You
40s?
can look it for
Do
it.
they have it in the 40s? When was it made?
Do my time traveler?
I don't know.
Am I a time traveler?
I don't know. I just don't think of Germans and hot sauce.
Yeah, I don't either.
They have hot sausages.
Buddy. Hey, buddy.
Why are you calling me on the phone?
I'm calling you.
here. I'm here on the show with you. Why are you calling? You just did the phone call.
We'll talk about sausages later.
People don't know
Click.
that you're doing it.
Click.
Well, we'll hear the story of the German. Well, God damn it.
I don't know.
Well, we will hear the story of the intelligence units that are made up of scientists and soldiers on the next episode.
Okay. But
meanwhile, President Roosevelt was starting to use stronger language when discussing the Axis powers.
We're going to rough them up. We're going to push them down.
By 1943, he was saying that the only way the war would end was with the unconditional surrender of Germany, Italy, and Japan. Therefore, unconditional surrender became official Allied policy. And that word, unconditional, would become incredibly important. Now, by 1944, U.S. forces on the Pacific Front were making serious headway in taking and holding the small islands leading to Japan, which were crucial to establishing Air Force bases to bomb Japanese cities on the mainland.
Cool.
Most crucial were the islands of Saipan and Tinian. Saipan was taken first in a horrifically bloody battle that resulted in the loss of 3,000 Americans and tens of thousands of Japanese.
Wow.
This is one of those things where, you listen to Marcus talk about these subjects.
Sure.
And he likes them.
I find them interesting.
He's doing
Yeah.
the fascinating.
War. What is it good for?
Marcus's intellect and his
Marcus's
hobbies.
research.
Yeah.
I find it extraordinarily interesting.
Yeah,
But
it's
this
almost like you like the world that we live in because you enjoy all the violence.
I also enjoy utopian sci-fi such as Star Trek.
Yeah.
Star Trek is full of violence.
Yeah, of course, but it's also
more stunned.
It's utopian. Star
stun
Trek is
each other.
utopian.
back
Yes.
on Earth. It's utopian. Everyone's having a great time back
They
on
didn't
Earth.
even let Worf fucking control the goddamn controls, even if everyone else died.
They absolutely let Worf control everything in Deep Space Nine. He became more of a commander. He got a lot more. Well, he wasn't the commander.
Why do you have to work so much harder
Am
than
I
everybody
going to
else?
do a second nerd alert on other people that are not me?
No, Cisco still commanded the Defiant, but Worf did get a promotion when he was assigned to Deep Space Nine.
And then Cisco did the thong song.
Oh, the thong.
Yeah. Now, about 29,000 of those Japanese deaths have been soldiers who had refused to surrender under any circumstances. And that was pretty much the case for every single island the Americans took. Iwo Jima,
Right.
goddamn, there's a reason why we talk about Iwo Jima to this day.
Well, it is true, right, that this was their emperor or was their god. So this would be...
It's somewhat of an oversimplification
but they were
of
very,
it.
Richard Feynman.
They were very dedicated.
They were
They were
extraordinarily
not going to
dedicated.
fucking cower. They were not going to turn
They
back
weren't going
and
to
run.
surrender. I mean,
No.
from these massive battles, they would have thousands upon thousands of
So it
casualties,
just-
and you might capture like a dozen Japanese
It
soldiers.
seems like
Also-
a perfect storm of immense chaos. They don't want to surrender, and then we're like, "Bitch, you have to,
You have to, though.
unconditionally."
And there's some gray in there as it goes, because as the war goes on and people start going hungry and they can't eat, eventually that fever will go away. It will begin to wear off as they go. Dan Carlin's Supernova in the East really does talk about
It's incredible.
this build up extremely in heavy detail. It's all from the Japanese perspective.
Yeah, and he has a great way of like explaining the Japanese, like to explain the Japanese mindset when it comes to warfare.
Do it.
Yeah, he says the Japanese are just like anybody else, only more so. You get it?
The more so than anybody else. I actually have a
Richard
question.
Feynman.
I have a question about their payment issues, Dan. Carlin.
Dan
Well, yeah,
Carlin.
no, he's
Difficult to get the episodes.
Well, he's behind a paywall because he deserves the money. He works very hard
I
on the
was
show.
And he's
trying
also-
to get an episode, and I couldn't get the episode.
He's also an old school guy. I mean, he's been doing podcasting since 2007.
I don't think he's ever shown the top of his head. You ever seen him? Him
He's a cat
and
guy.
Oppenheimer are very, very similar.
Yeah.
They're hat-based people.
Yeah, Carlin's a hat-based guy. Even when
He
he
is?
was, yeah, he is. But hey, you know what? More power to him.
It keeps his knowledge
absolutely.
in.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to listen to the episode. That's all.
Yeah. But that's the thing about Saipan is that 14,000 of those casualties, 14,000 of those deaths, those were civilians.
Oh, yeah.
Many of those civilians were accidentally burned to death in civilian shelters by Marines because the shelters looked almost identical to military bunkers. And it was policy, or at least and it was policy to clear bunkers with flamethrowers loaded with napalm fuel as
Right.
quickly as possible.
That's just a way to clear a bunker. Is it? Did they not care enough to really check?
No, because they would, if you opened up a bunker and you did not immediately attack the Japanese soldiers as fast as you possibly could, they would kill you. I mean, the Japanese were absolutely an incredibly formidable enemy.
No, I know. I just feel like they could have checked a couple of the houses and not burnt down
I
so
wanna
many
say,
civilians.
It
But
seems like it's complicated.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
going to say that it was justified or anything
No.
like that. And of course,
It's
this,
bad.
And
It's
of course,
bad, but it's war, man.
yeah, and of course, this policy became much worse in Vietnam when they started burning down entire villages
Yeah.
and they started killing entire populations just in case they might be hiding a Viet
and all
Cong
these
somewhere.
guys had to come back and immediately buy a microwave, get married, have a child. You know what I mean? Like
Just immediately.
Immediately.
That's
just
the most
forget
stressful
all that.
part.
Yeah, it's
That's
so
the most-
difficult.
But also, this was DuPont as well, right? They're the ones who created the flamethrower. Was that DuPont or J&J or
Can't
it was
say that
one
for
of these
sure.
motherfuckers?
Yeah,
I think it was remember Parker Bradley, Milton Parker Bradley.
They made the goddamn Ouija board.
They did.
They made the Ouija.
Well, to the point of them just coming back and buying microwaves and having families and all that, like when you talk about guys who took Saipan, they are in World War II documentaries, when you see soldiers talk about battles they've been in, like they're never, like they're just like, yeah, we went in and that was
Texas Pete, he was from Montana. We were down there.
Why'd you call him?
Class and
Why'd you call
Nazis
him
out.
Texas?
It's what he said. It's
Yeah.
just something about it's just hat. He's a hat.
he's a
on
hat.
it.
Yeah. But Saipan rattled these dudes. And this is the reason why. As far as the rest of the people go, as far as the rest of the Japanese civilian casualties go, numbers vary, but at least 1,000 Japanese civilians killed themselves in advance of the American military because they were told that the Americans were coming to rape, torture, castrate, and murder any Japanese civilian they found. So rather than be subjected to what sounded like hell on earth, at least 1,000 people threw themselves from a perch that is now named Suicide Cliff down to the jagged rocks below. So many jumped that the waters ran red with blood. And what rattled the guys, what rattled these fucking Marines, was that they had to sail through a sea of broken bodies just to get to shore.
Before we started killing them. Like, literally, we rolled into watching them jump off a cliff and and it's just a lot. It's really fucked up because we didn't do the rape, torture, and castrate, but we will set you on fire. So at least there is that.
Yeah, we will vaporize you and create action.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it doesn't sound like a very fun ride to me.
No.
But with the fall of Saipan, the war was effectively lost for the Japanese, and anyone with half a brain in the Japanese military knew it. Saipan put B-29 bombers within range of the Japanese mainland, and it was from this point that America was able to retake the Philippines from Japan 3 months later. After the Philippines were retaken, it was only a matter of time. Saipan was also important. The Battle of Saipan was important because it changed the way the Japanese population saw the war. News of the loss got around, even though the Japanese government tried to keep it under wraps. And anyone familiar with the surrounding geography could see that if they had taken Saipan, the American forces were pretty much unstoppable. In other words, many Japanese started seeing that Japan was going to lose. And quite a few of them weren't as sold on the idea of fighting to the last man, woman, and child as America believed them to be.
Because truly, again, they're also starving to death.
Yes.
They've been in a full-on embargo across the line. They can't get anywhere. They can't get anything. And so get slowly but surely fucks with the morale of a country.
Yeah.
If that's how you do it. If you really want to fuck with somebody, Civ 6.
Yeah.
You raid. You take out the food. You take out all the production. It's the only way to do it because then they can't make the stuff anymore and they can't fight you anymore.
But most consequently, the taking of Saipan was the prelude to the taking of the island of Tinian. Here, Marines took the island partly by using 24 mechanized flamethrowers affixed to what were called Satan tanks.
Yeah, Satan
tanks.
Man, you give me one Satan tank, I'm gonna get a lot of stuff figured out by the next debt ceiling.
I thought you wanted a killdozer.
No, but if I had a flamethrower, it used to be cool.
It's not going to be good for the brand.
No,
Satanism's under heat.
You shoot.
That's a
That'd be
fart.
fun to
That's a
do,
fart.
right?
That's a fart. But it's interesting with the embargoes. Civilians are always the ones on the front lines of the ones who get fucked over. North Korea is going through a similar thing right now. People are just dying in droves, and it's part of the strategy of make them super hungry. They will overthrow their government.
Eventually.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just kind of, or they don't.
Yeah.
But it just kind of sucks because, again, it's just the civilians that get fucked.
Every
all the
flamethrower,
time.
every flamethrower is just a fart gun. But then you put a flame at the end of it.
If you have a lot of hot sauce.
But after the island was taken, it was on Tinian that the Americans would build the largest airbase in the world at the time. From there, America would launch a little plane called the Enola Gay, which would truly introduce hell on earth to the Japanese.
And how brave it was for a plane to come out at that time period when the whole world was against it.
It was named after his mother. His mother was named Gay.
Yeah, she was a massive lesbian.
It's Pride Month.
And it's with that hell on earth and the covert operations concerning the German atomic program that we'll return next week with part 3 of our series on the Manhattan Project.
And again, don't worry. We're going to get to the sloughing.
Oh my God, I am good. I like the skin on my body not to be boiling. I like the innards to be nice and 98 degrees.
Yeah. Oh, and you wanted to keep them at a simmer.
And I'll say, well, it'll probably be episode 4 when we truly get to the sloughing.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but just
Yes.
wait though. Sloughing's a coming.
Sloughing's a coming.
But this is again, very History Channel. But I think it's important to learn this shit. It's, as a person that again, if you're into woo topics. We're gonna get to aliens. Don't you fucking worry.
Well, you know what I was thinking
because
about?
it's all legit. It's the same mechanisms.
I mentioned this on Sirius. The people of Heaven's Gate, man, if they were alive today, they just fucked it up with the Hail Bop. They would have. This is their prime.
Oh yeah, dude.
Marshall Applewhite would have, if he would have just hung on. What was that? 15 years ago now?
Oh,
It's like, oh my God, more than
You're
that.
saying 1997 is 15 years ago?
Yeah, dude.
Everything is 15 years ago to me.
Yo, can you imagine
We
him
are
just
old.
being like when they blew the 4 that one weekend when they blew the 4 objects out of the sky, just being like, well, that was supposed to be our ride. And now it's
yeah,
gone.
that's true too.
That's a good way to keep pushing
Yeah.
the envelope, keep moving the goalposts.
And now he could just be going, see?
See?
Yeah.
See?
See? And now, and then everybody's just got to wait a little bit longer, and a little bit longer, and a little bit longer, and then all of a sudden everyone's dead.
There you go.
Cool.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for listening. Go to Ben Kissel 1, my Instagram. I got a couple of dates. I can't wait to see y'all in July.
Again, front row. Put where you're
Splash
from. If you wear a shirt that says where you're from, what country you are, what race you are, Kissel's gonna he's ready to roast.
Yeah, I'm ready to roast. You know, I love my roast mode. Do we have, speaking of roast, Spring Hill Jack Coffee?
Spring Hill Jack Coffee, obviously.
Do we have any other announcements?
No, not right now.
Well, I'd say
Z2comics.com. Go and get the last comic book on the left. Issue 3. It's beautiful.
it's absolutely beautiful. We just got the proof for
it's
it.
so
It's
good.
Incredible. Both Henry and I have stories that we've written
I'm working
in
on
this one. Ben's working on
Kissel's
one.
got
I got my computer with me now. I'm going to start click-clacking on that.
That's nice. And we
know?
got a new episode of No Dogs in Space out where we did a bit of a coda to our Monk series where I cover another band who did Vietnam protest music, but they were a very dark group of GIs, active GIs, called the Covered Wagon Musicians, who had a little song called Napalm Sticks to Kids.
I guess
1972.
Not really upbeat then, is it?
No.
Keep on supporting all the shows here on the Last Podcast Network and a couple of shows that we do on Sirius. Thank y'all so much for listening. Hail yourselves!
Hail the Satan tank.
The Satan tank.
Again.
Hail me.
I would be, I don't know if you're a warrior and you're like, I'm in the Satan tank. Is it cool or horrifying?
I think it's cool, but I think it's very hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. I think it's fine. It's a light tank, so you are going to get. It is going to be hot.
You can
why
get
we
shot
won.
at. Yeah, you can get shot at.
Nice.
This show is made possible by listeners like you. Thanks to our ad sponsors, you can support our shows by supporting them. For more shows like the one you just listened to, go to lastpodcastnetwork.com.